football talk show that holds back nothing on opinions.
Straight shooting LJA.
Hi, I'm John Sitton.
Grassroots coach Manisha Taylor.
Hello, I'm Rob Russ.
The G-Man.
Sonley, Motivate Sports and Fitness.
Christian Carambeu.
Matt Hodgson, Director of the 4-year plan.
We the people, for the people. Jazzy Fizzle.
Your Monday night footballing fix.
Make sure you join the revolution.
The pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk. Each and every Monday night of your lives.
At youtube.com/pitch talk.
For podcast links and information, check out our official website, www.pitch-talk.com. Ladies and gentlemen, Pitch Talk proudly presents a full sit-down interview with a level 5 referee operating in Southern Amateur League and more. For 2 years, he was club secretary for a football club in Burnt Oak. In April 2015, he was elected AFA Youth Council Chairman. His aims include having input on development and more.
To ask Darrell a question during our special interview, email pitchtalk@gmail.com and put Darrell David in the subject line. Pitch Talk meets Darrell David. Coming soon.
Hi, I'm John Sitton, and I'm here with Gavin, Liam and Gerald on Pitch Talk.
The football talk show that pulls no punches and holds back nothing on opinions.
Hello, I'm Rob Russ. My name is Christian Carambeu.
I'm Grassroots coach Manisha Taylor.
Hi, I'm Matt Hodgson, Director of the 4-year plan, and you're listening to Pitch Talk, the only place to get your Monday night footballing fix.
Make sure you join the revolution.
The pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk.
I'm Andy Copeland from the Glennet Southern Amateur League.
Philip Wick, I'm CEO of 14.
I'm Rob Lusher, former chairman of Ibis FC.
I'm Sonley, co-founder and co-director of Motivate Sports and Fitness.
And you are listening.
And you're listening to Pitch Talk.
-5 stars. -5 stars.
Good evening. I thought I'd open the show with that because the show is going to be anything but
-5 stars.
Why? Because, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, straight shooting LJA, the G-Man and Jazzy Fizzle proudly bring to you the football talk show that pulls no punches and holds back nothing on opinions. Because the pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk. Really?
I can't help it. Oh my word. www.pitch-talk.com is the official website where you can find out about everything Pitch Talk. Also, facebook.com/Pitch Talk. Become a fan, become a friend, become a member of the group. Join the footballing revolution. We are working so hard to create. pitchtalk.blogspot.com or .co.uk will get you to the blogs by yours truly, straight shooting LJ, the G-Man, Jazzy Fizzle, and many others. Many others as well, including Dave Mear, aka at Mearsey on Twitter, and his Airtricity League roundups as well, and many more bloggers. Also, you heard it at the top of the show, youtube.com/Pitch Talk. Pitch Talk meets Darrell David is coming soon. pitchtalk@gmail.com with Darrell David in the subject line. That's where you need to email if you want to get your questions in for Pitch Talk meets Darrell David. Check out that video for more information on Darrell David. Hey, a level 5 football referee operating in a number of leagues. The chairman of the AFA Youth Council as well. You know what? He is doing big things. A very inspirational young man doing big things. Get your questions in for him as soon as possible. Remember to give at AFA Youth Council a follow on Twitter as well. That is the AFA Youth Council, at AFA Youth Council on Twitter. YouTube.com/Pitch Talk is where you can find all of our videos, including Pitch Talk at the 2015 FA Cup final between Aston Villa and Arsenal. Also, you can find Pitch Talk meets Dave McLaughlin, chairman of Alexandra Park FC of the 14 Southern Amateur League as well. You can find one hell of a lot of videos, baby, up there. And you know what? It is one of them ones where, oh my word, 07535 804 466 is the mobile number. Call us, text us, let us know your views. If you text in to 07535 804 466, then what you need to do is not cough, but you need to leave your name right at the end of.
Or maybe they need to clear their throat first
before texting.
Yeah, but like, and then text.
Okay, Jada Kiss. Is that a frog in your throat or a Disney mouse? Anyway, MICKEYMOUSC. There's lines I can't say on air to supplement that too, but still. Anyway. At Pitch Talk on Twitter or twitter.com/Pitch Talk. Tweet with us, follow us, see what we are up to. Also, Pitch Talk Live on Google Plus as well. It is one of them ones where we got to give a big shout out to Hackney Wick FC. We will be up at Hackney Wick FC this Saturday for their first official match. It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. Big shout out to Daniel at the Beautiful Game 15. Big time shout outs to him. A big shout outs to everyone at Hackney Wick FC. That is at Hackney Wick FC on Twitter. So that is tremendous stuff. You know, it is going to be a lot of fun doing our next installment of Pitch Talk on the road. But G-Man, Jezzy, how are you? And are you looking forward to Saturday? G-Man, Jezzy, is anyone going to jump in?
I was going to allow the G-Man to go first. You know, I'm normally first.
And now you both jump in at the same time. Curveball, right on, we'll strike one. Which one of you is... All right, you know what?
Jezzy started speaking first, and let Jezzy go first, man.
Sounds like he's crying.
You know what? No, thank you for being so gracious, man. I appreciate that. Well, as always, it's an honor to be here. Do you know what I mean? It's the people for the people. It is the footballing revolution that we are working so hard to create. The week's been good. Obviously, there's the Women's World Cup final to talk about, and of course, the third and fourth place playoff as well. We will get onto that in results and analysis, and of course, will any of those goals from any of those games be in Stuff of the Week? Will any of the players featured in any of those games be Player of the Week? Stay tuned for Stuff of the Week later on in the show. Am I looking forward to Saturday? Am I looking forward to the Wickers' first ever game? Darn tootin'. I can't wait. It's going to be absolutely awesome. And of course, Pitch Talk on the road is always an event. So, you know, I really don't need to say much more other than, you know what? Shout out to my ex-wife, love you, baby. Shout out to my next wife, love you, baby. Shout out to my future kids, daddy loves you. And of course, you know, shout out to all my family as well. Extra special birthday shout out to my sister Mary. Her birthday's on Friday. Happy birthday to you. And of course, to my auntie Pauline as well. It's also her birthday on Friday. Flowers are on their way. Happy belated birthday to my good friend Lydia as well. It was her birthday last Tuesday. And of course, an extra special hello to Princess Bella, and of course to Sherry over there in Florida, and to our two friends in Canada, Daniela and Guru. Commiserations, apologies, but thank you so much for, let's see, the Hart family, maple syrup, and of course this year's Women's World Cup. Thank you very much.
Definitely good stuff. G-Man, how's your week and weekend?
I'd just like to start to say, he's bringing flowers. on their way. If I was to his auntie. Happy birthday, obviously.
That was pretty good.
I tried. I'm trying my best to do it, talking stink. But yeah, it's great to be back on the show, and I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, what Jesse said, speaking about the Women's World Cup, my views will be a bit indifferent to you guys, but we'll get to that later on, and we'll have something a bit special for the people at the end of the week as well. But yeah, just a big shout out to everyone. I want to send a big shout out to all the Pitch Talk family right now that's online, those that are offline, those that are listening secretly, those that are, listening abroad. And
Jennifer Evans as well, by the way.
Oh yeah, big shout out.
Evans,
big
wherever
shout
you
out
are,
to
somewhere in Wales with little sheep.
With the sheep. They have to bring up the sheep.
Hey, the G-Man's big in Wales, man.
They have to bring up the sheep.
Yeah, the inflatable ones. Come on now.
Why would you have inflatables? Anyway, I'm not even going down that road. Yes, big shout out to Jennifer Evans. Big time shout outs. So there was dude comes with inflatable sheep. What are you doing? What are you two doing with inflatable sheep? Actually, don't answer that.
Using them as balloons. Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, I hope you are. Anyway, yeah. G-Man, was there anything else you wanted to say?
The G-Man has done.
Thank you very much. Good night. Oh, he's finished already. Stick a fork in him. He's done. I'm just thrown off a bit by this inflatable sheep thing. So I still don't know where that gimmick came from. I mean, we've seen some funny gimmicks in wrestling, but the inflatable sheep gimmick, it's like we've seen rubber bats and inflatable shark, but where did the sheep come from? And for those who are unsure of that OWR,
you're in Wales, man. What's wrong with you? Wales is famous for sheep.
Exactly.
Yeah, but not in the way they want.
And rabbit and rabbit. Like, come on now.
Yeah, I don't think the Welsh are really famous for sheep in the way they would want to be.
And of course, dandelions. Like, what's wrong with you? Dandelions, daffodils. Like, come on now.
Dandelions. Good Lord.
Come on now.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway.
Definitely daffodils. Okay. Definitely rabbits and rabbit. Okay. Like, come on.
The double D. The double Ds. Definitely daffodils.
Well, speaking of double D, obviously we're going to be sitting down with Darrell David soon. So, if you haven't got your questions in, make sure you get your questions in. Make sure you send us an email with Darrell David, aka Double D, in that subject.
I'm glad you said it in that way.
Well, what other way could I say it?
No. Double D could have went elsewhere. I don't know. I'm just guessing. Apparently, Double D can go elsewhere.
Those are his initials.
I know.
So, like,
yeah, Double D can go anywhere.
What garden path are you trying to lead yourself now?
I'm not leading myself down no primrose path. It's not happening. Anyway, you know what? Yeah, here's one of them ones where we do need to give a few shout outs. Anyway, big time shout outs to Sophie and Rachel of Girls on the Ball.
And of course, Pitch Talk's favourite rabbit.
And that's
isn't Welsh, oddly enough. Scotty. Yeah. Salute to you.
Definitely. The Canadian World Cup, the FIFA World Cup this year was absolutely tremendous. But you know what? It is one of them ones where it is actually about that time where we pause that particular track and we actually do start to move and groove into the first segment of the show, which is results and analysis. It's results and analyses. It's results and analyses. yesterday's results and analysis. And where we start off is Tuesday, 30th of June, 2015. We're going to start with the European Under-21 final. And that is Sweden Under-21s 0, Portugal Under-21s 0. Sweden Under-21s actually won it 4-3 on penalties. Copa America semi-finals, Chile 2, Peru 1. Vargas opened and scoring on 42 minutes. A Gary Medel own goal on 60 minutes leveled things up. And Vargas scored again on 64 minutes to send the hosts through to the final. Shifted on to Wednesday, 1st of July, 2015. More Copa America semifinals. The other semifinal, the other side of the bracket. Argentina 6, Paraguay 1. Rojo opened the scoring on 15 minutes. Javier Pastore scoring on 27. Barrios Cáceres scoring on 43 minutes. What turned out to only be a consolation goal because Angel Di Maria scored on 47 minutes, scored on 53 minutes. Sergio Aguero scored on 80, and Gonzalo Higuain scored on 83 minutes. Moving on to the FIFA Women's World Cup semi-finals from Wednesday, 1st of July, 2015. My, it was USA Women 2, Germany Women 0. Carly Lloyd scoring from the penalty spot on 69 minutes, and O'Hara scoring the second on 84 minutes. Moving and grooving on to Thursday, July 2nd, 2015, the FIFA Women's World Cup semi-finals, the other side of the bracket in this one. Japan Women 2, England Women 1. Miyama opening the scoring on 32 minutes from the penalty spot, with Farrah Williams equalising on 40 minutes from the penalty spot as well. But a Laura Bassett own goal, a heartbreaker of an own goal on 92 minutes with literally less than a minute to play, ended up going in the back of the net with the aid of GLT, that's goal line technology. It was ruled as in, and it put England out of the running for the final of the Women's World Cup, the 2015 Women's World Cup. We're going to come back to that in absolute space because there was quite a bit of controversy in that match, actually. Miyama's penalty, and even Farrah Williams' penalty to an extent. There was a bit of controversy with both. But shifting on to Saturday, 4th of July, 2015. Hola, I'm a Yankee Doodle Dandy. A Yankee Doodle do or die. I don't know the rest of that song. But Saturday, 4th of July, aka America's Independence Day. The FIFA Women's World Cup third place playoff. Germany Women 0, England Women 1. Farrah Williams with a 108th minute penalty in extra time, scoring and giving England the bronze medal. That confirms that they've made even more history. Even more history. So it's tremendous. We're going to come back to some facts and stats in a minute. But the Copa America third place playoff, Peru 2, Paraguay 0. Carrillo scoring on 48 minutes and Guerrero scoring the second goal on 89 minutes. The Copa America final, Chile 0, Argentina 0. Chile ended up winning 4-1 on penalties, or if you're part of mirror football, pelantes, if you want. Pelantes.
I thought that was a John Hartson thing.
Is it John Hartson? I've only ever seen it with mirror football, but anyways.
Yeah, no, I could have swore it was John Hartson. Well, actually, that's another Welsh thing, because it's both him and Robbie Savage.
Well, doing the whole pelantes gimmick.
Oh. It is a penalty, is it?
I didn't know where it came from, but it's one of them ones. I mean, Alexis Sanchez's penalty, we're going to come back to, because that was absolute mockage to the extreme. But Chile won 4-1 on penalties. Again, we got some facts and stats coming up about that as well. But another final. And this one, a World Cup final. The FIFA Women's World Cup final. USA versus Japan. And what a final it was. USA Women 5, Japan Women 2. Carly Lloyd opened the scoring on 3 minutes. Scored again on 5 minutes. Pretty much identical goals. Lauren Holiday scored on 14 minutes. Lovely volley, it must be said. And Carly Lloyd on 16 minutes scored a legit goal of the tournament contender. Easily a goal of the week contender for later on in the show. Stick around, stuff it of the week is later on in the show. But Ogimi got one back with a lovely finish, it must be said, on 27
Great
minutes.
turn, great finish.
It was, yeah. But Johnston scored an own goal on 52 minutes. But just when you thought Japan had a glimmer of hope, Heath went and scored on 54 minutes to pretty much extinguish any flame that Japan thought they were going to get started. It was one of them ones. Absolutely craziness in that match. But you know what? Few little facts and stats to come out. Chile ended their 99-year wait for a Copa America title by beating Argentina 4-1 on penalties to win the tournament on home soil in Santiago. It's their first major trophy. Lionel Messi was given player of the tournament, but didn't want to accept the award. He was none too happy. I give him that. He was none too happy. But speaking of awards and accolades, the England Lionesses, their first victory in 21 attempts against the Germans, and was the perfect way to sign off from a tremendous campaign in Canada. I mean, global stadium attendance, a few little numbers from @FIFA WWC. Global stadium attendance, 70 million, 207 million pages consumed in 27 days. These facts were correct as of the 2nd of July 2015. 150 million impressions. Their followers went up 74% on the FIFA Women's World Cup official Twitter, and 20 million users reached. Their likes went up by 109%. Now, TV audiences actually grew in the quarterfinals. They've steadily been growing anyway, but the quarterfinals, the FIFA Women's World Cup was attracting larger television audiences in the knockout stages. As the quarterfinal clashes set fresh viewing records in Canada, France, and the United States. France's nail biting defeat to Germany drew the biggest audience ever recorded on French digital terrestrial television, with an average of 4.1 million viewers watching the game. Canadian broadcasters CTV and RDS reported an average of 3.2 million for Canada's match against England, a record for any FIFA Women's World Cup match on Canadian television as well. Fox scored a new high for its football coverage when an average audience of 5.7 million tuned in to watch the United States beat China. The match was also the third most watched women's football match on record in the United States after the 1999 and 2011 FIFA Women's World Cup finals. Now, it is one of them ones. Nicholas Eriksson, FIFA's director of TV, said it has been another blockbuster round for television audiences. We expect to see more impressive viewing figures in the final stages of the competition. Now, German broadcaster ZDF drew an average of 7.5 million for Germany versus France, the largest television audience recorded on June 26th in Germany, and the biggest German viewing figures for the 2015 competition so far. On FIFA's digital platforms, the global stadium audience from the 6th to the 28th of June exceeded 59 million. So it's one of them ones. Now, USA's semi-final triumph over Germany was another TV ratings bonanza, because the US women's national team's latest World Cup triumph was yet another ratings record breaker for Fox. The network announced actually that the average audience was 8.4 million, which broke the most recent mark for soccer on the network set on June 26th with the USA-China quarterfinals match, as we just said. But it is one of them ones where it's been absolutely amazing to see that sort of growth. But there were some awards given out. The Adidas Golden Ball got given to Carly Lloyd. She's made a habit of starring on the big occasion, and she scored twice in the opening 5 minutes, and she actually completed her hat-trick inside 16 minutes. So it's one of them ones. She spent every minute of her side's games on the pitch as well. So it's one of them ones. Fantastic stuff. she collected no fewer than 4 Live Your Goals Player of the Match awards from the tournament. So, how player of the tournament, well deserved to Carly Lloyd of the USA. The silver ball went to Amandine Henry. The bronze ball went to Aya Miyama of Japan. So it's one of them ones. Along with Yuki Ogimi, she was the only member of the Japan squad to play all their games. The golden boot actually went to Celia Sasic. 6 goals, 1 assist. Carly Lloyd got 6 goals and 1 assist as well, but she had played more games. So that was how Sasic ended up getting the golden boot. But the bronze boot went to Anya Mittag with 5 goals and 2 assists. The golden glove went to Hope Solo of the USA, going unbeaten for 540 minutes during the course of the competition. She actually set a new FIFA Women's World Cup record, achieving a save rate of 90% for the competition. She only conceded goals in her side's opening and closing matches. So it's one of them ones. And she's only become the 2nd goalkeeper in the history of the competition to keep 10 clean sheets. So it's fantastic stuff. Hyundai's best young player was Kadisha Buchanan of Canada. Even though she's only 19, the Canadian central defender already has more than 40 caps to her name. She was actually the 2nd youngest player on duty for the hosts. So it's one of them ones. That is fantastic stuff. She went through the competition without picking up a single card, and she played in every one of the Canadians' games as well. The FIFA Fair Play Award, I know there's an irony there, but FIFA's Fair Play Award went to France. France, of course, reached the quarterfinals, picking up only 3 yellow cards in 5 games. But their respect for opponents, match officials, and the sporting attitude displayed by their coaches, staff, and fans, they actually did impress FIFA's technical study group throughout their stay in Canada, which helped them win the Fair Play Award. The FIFA World Champions badge, the winners of each major FIFA competition, FIFA World Cup, FIFA Women's World Cup, FIFA Beach Soccer World Cup, FIFA Futsal World Cup, and the FIFA Club World Cup, earned the right to wear the FIFA Champions badge. So Japan wore the prestigious emblem through to the finals, but the USA will claim it themselves for the next 4 years. So the other teams currently sporting the FIFA World Champions badge are Brazil 2014 winners Germany, reigning Club World Cup champions Real Madrid, FIFA Futsal World Cup champions Thailand winners, who actually were Brazil. They won it in 2012. And yeah, Russia will defend their FIFA World Champions badge at the upcoming Beach Soccer World Cup, which kicks off in Portugal on the 9th of July, this coming Thursday. So it is one of them ones. You know what? It is one of them ones. It's fantastic stuff. G-Man, Jezzy, you want to jump in on this before I do, and then we throw it to the Skypers? And also jump in on the week's results too.
Well, seeing as the G-Man's taking a dramatic pause, I figure I might as well go first, right? I'd say this is what the tournament needed in terms of viewership, right? Because if women's football generally is going to get anywhere near being on par with the men's game, this is what's required. You know, and I think that the interest in women's football has clearly been enhanced by the tournament. The tournament itself was absolutely fantastic from start to finish, some real high quality football, right? And even if you were a skeptic or a critic of women's football before the tournament, honestly, if you're not converted, I'll say this: you don't know football. You really don't, because this has really been a quality tournament. I just hope that, you know, going forward, you know, my personal aims for the Women's World Cup over the next, you know, 4, 8, 12 years is to see it expanded to, you know, close to 32 teams, if not 32 teams, right? And then, of course, having even more larger audiences, right? But I think we have to take the lead from the likes of Canada and the United States, just with pure viewership alone. We have to get behind the team. You know, the reason why these nations seem to be doing so well is there are a lot of young people watching these games, curious to go and play, and the infrastructure is in place. So I think, you know, one of the things that the FA will have to do is look at putting that kind of infrastructure in place. And why not have the Lionesses play at Wembley on a regular basis?
I totally agree.
Why not do that? Right? And it's not as if, for example, that the tickets can't be subsidized to get bigger audiences. Of course they can. So why not do that?
No, of course. No, of course. I mean, at the end of the day, we got the Women's FA Cup final, the SSE Women's FA Cup final coming up at Wembley.
Yeah.
And hell, all three of us are going to it. So that's going to be very interesting. And that's the first Women's FA Cup final to be played at Wembley as well. So it's going to be a privilege to be there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But I see no reason why, for example, the women's team shouldn't have the same turnout at Wembley. Why not?
Yeah.
Now, interestingly enough, Gianluca says that he doesn't agree with the national team playing only at Wembley. He thinks that they should go around the country, which is also a very interesting idea. But the reason why I say playing at Wembley is just because that's where the men's team are based. Right? So if the men's team are based there, if we're talking about equality, then why aren't the women's team based there as well?
That's a good point. No, that is a good point. I mean, the only time that the men's side were kind of getting dotted around in terms of playing around the country. The only time that happened was when Wembley was being built.
When Wembley was being rebuilt, that was the only time.
That overpriced shambles of a stadium. No, it's a nice stadium, but the price was just astronomical. You look at the Millennium Stadium in Cardiff for a ground that came in nicely in budget and is fantastic. In terms of retractable roof. But anyway, leaving that aside.
But, you know, overall, as I say, absolutely fantastic tournament. Fantastic games. And Brad Hicks has said, but you wouldn't get a good crowd every time that they play at Wembley. Fair enough. But here's the thing. If the tickets are affordable and it's marketed the way that the men's game is marketed, there's no reason not to.
Yeah, you know, that's what I would think. It's a case of you wouldn't get a good crowd every time the women play at Wembley. Why not? I mean, if you, as you said, if you promote something right, it's a case. It's the old line: if you build it, they will come.
Right. So, and here's the other thing. Now, technically speaking, okay, the women are the second best, right, national team football-wise that England have ever had.
Yeah. And
this has happened in recent times. Right, i.e. in the last week. So if you don't want to support that team versus a men's team that chronically underachieves, I don't know. Yeah. Here's the thing, right? It was a good thing to be an Arsenal fan about 10 years ago. Right? The reason why it was a good thing to be an Arsenal fan about 10 years ago, the women, and they still are, absolutely dominant in the game. So even though the men were disappointing because they didn't actually win anything for such a long time, the women were still winning. Yeah. So for me, it'd be exactly the same with the national team, right? Here's the real secret as to why, for example, in the USA, the men's team and the women's team seem to be doing so well, right? Fans of soccer in the United States, right? They happen to support their national team regardless.
Yeah. Hey, you got certain people jumping on the bandwagon as well. I mean, I saw a post from Mick Foley, which I actually wanted to, which I'm going to come back to that because I kind of wanted to, I've got a little OWR to drop in there. Not even just Mick Foley himself. There's an OWR about the final that I wanted to drop in. But, no, I mean, it's one of them ones. Yeah, supporting the national team. I mean, it's fantastic that there's been this level of exposure. I mean, obviously there have been a couple of games where it's kind of like people questioning the standard of the women's game, but at the end of the day, it is one of them ones. It is one of them ones where there are going to be peaks and troughs in the standard because at the end of the day, not every club, not every country, not every player from every country is playing professional football. A lot of them are amateur, a lot of them are semi-pro, but you're going to get that. You're always going to get that in a game that is growing. and that is still very much developing.
Here's the thing, right? The men's game is established, okay? And most of what we talked about last season was what? Refereeing decisions.
Yeah, exactly.
And, you know, poor pieces of play from well-established professionals. So if we're talking about that in the men's game, and the women's game arguably isn't anywhere near as evolved, right? Just because of, you know, exposure, league structure, so on and so forth, and a lack of equality gender-wise, right? Because that's really what we're talking about. Then of course that's going to happen. Here's the thing, all right? It's far worse to sit in the men's game, and we talk about it in the men's game every week. And we're talking about the professional leagues. And then when we got to World Cups and other such like, we're still talking about it there in the men's game.
Yeah.
So to me, personally, that doesn't wash. Right? Here's the thing. Yes, we're asking these referees and their assistants to do a specific job. And I personally say, look, if you can do it, you should be praised for it. If you don't do it so well, maybe we should look at additional training and, of course, constructive criticism. Right? Yeah. But it's not a gender thing.
No, of course not.
It's not to say this is purely to do with women's football. No. It's to do with football, full stop. And as I say, we see it week in, week out in one of arguably the world's best footballing leagues in the Premier League. And every single week you hear us say, you know, I cannot believe that was missed.
You know what? One funny thing is actually in regards to the women's game and it being a growing game. I mean, equality is the important thing. I mean, if you were to promote the women's game as much as the men's game, then it would be of such a help to the game. And at the end of the day, I saw something posted in a Facebook football group, where it was like something along the lines of countries who treat women's football equally tend to have better women's football teams internationally. And it's like, and I looked at that and I thought to myself, no crap, Sherlock, no crap. It's just common sense.
Well, yeah, and as I say, that's part of the problem.
But then you've got
for women's football worldwide. But here's the thing: yes, we have established teams like Germany, France, England, Brazil, for example, right? But if you really want to see the narrowing of the gap, and let's not forget Japan too. Okay, if you really want to, and the USA, if you really want to see a narrowing of the gap between those teams, it really is a matter of, as I say, promoting the game and getting more young people involved.
No, of course.
That's all there is. Like, we talk about going down to grassroots in the men's game and the importance of grassroots there. Yeah. What about the importance of grassroots in the women's game?
We'll get into that a little later. We'll get into that in the grassroots segment. We will definitely get into that because there's a lot. There are certain things being done. So hang on to that thought. We will go on to that.
You know, because for me, I look at it like this: third place, excellent achievement, goes down in history. Those players are heroes, in my opinion. But here's my thing: if we want to actually put together a team that is going to go and win the World Cup, regardless of if it's the men's team or the women's team, that starts with grassroots.
Of course, and it starts now. This is the thing. There's no time like the present to start. It's not, for me, it's not about looking 5 years ahead, 10 years ahead. It's looking at the next 20, 25. We've got to start getting them systems in place, because you look at the progress that the Lionesses have made in just this tournament and how good they were. We need to keep that momentum going. And how do you keep that momentum going? You keep that momentum going by supporting the game. It's fantastic. It's actually interesting that the FAWSL is actually back on Saturday 11th. So the Lionesses, you saw going out and playing in a World Cup semi-final and getting third place and making history. You can see them all. BT Sport, FAWSL coverage. There you go. And also on the FAWSL YouTube page with the highlights there. It's one of them ones you can start seeing it. You can start supporting it. Ask Girls on the Ball, at Girls on the Ball on Twitter and girlsontheball.com. So one of them was facebook.com/Girls on the Ball. ask them for more information as well if you want it. FAWSL.com. That's where you can get more information. I mean, you can see some of the Lionesses who did so well in the Women's FA Cup final, which is coming up on August 1st, and we'll be there. We'll be on Wembley Way doing a video, and we'll be at the match. So there's one of them ones. It could be a huge watershed moment, considering those viewing figures. If even half of those people on a regular basis start supporting the women's game, then it's a success. If even a quarter, then it's a success, and I like that. But the coming back to the final, when I was seeing the first goal was just elementary defending and awful defending at that. The second goal, carbon copy. At the end of the day, Japan you were marking zonally, but there's like 10, 15 yards worth of space between the Japanese back line and the two late runners. And it's like, letting that happen once is bad enough, but letting that happen twice is laughable. But then you had the third goal as well. As soon as the third and fourth goals went in, I was thinking of it. This is what I was thinking of.
And I don't like it a damn bit. Oh my God.
Literally, I was literally thinking that when the third and fourth goals were going in against Japan, because it was like, no, that even me and one of my housemates were watching it, and he was like, nah, man, they better stop this. They better stop this match. This is going to get silly. And it is one of them ones, and it looked that way because Japan were that bad. First, it took them 26 minutes to get the ball. Yeah, they scored on 27, but the damage had already been done. Similar to Liverpool Stoke in that first half at the back end of last season, as much as it hurts me to bring it up. It was one of them was, it was that bad. Arsenal the season before, 4-0 down inside of 20 minutes. It was that bad. It was one of them ones where USA were just bam, 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 bam. They just were relentless.
Well, let's not forget Germany, Brazil.
Of course. Oh my God, that demolition job.
Right, and here's the thing, right? If anybody wants to use that score at that point in time as a criticism against the women's game, look at all those examples from the men's game. Come on.
Oh, of course. I mean, the USA. The fact of the matter is, they were just that good on the day. I mean, as awful as Japan were,
they came out the
USA
white hot.
Yeah, they would just bang on it with the 4th of July weekend behind them, with giving Abby Wambach a send off. They would just bang on it, and especially Carly Lloyd as well. It was one of them ones. They would just bang on it. It was like, yeah, boom, boom, boom. We're relentless. We ain't stopping. Fullbacks getting exposed on both sides. Ain't stopping. Centre backs getting exposed. Centre mid looked like they weren't even there. Getting exposed. Done. But as I said, I had flashbacks to that. I had flashbacks to Mick Foley, to Mankind versus The Undertaker from King of the Ring 98. In that
was that the OWR that you wanted to drop in?
Yeah, I just did a second though. Yeah,
I was just checking that was it.
Yeah, that was the OWR I wanted to drop in, because Mick Foley even was like, after the match was like, oh no, congratulations to the USA and all that. And it was like, I was thinking to myself, boy, I legitimately thought of you about 13, 14 years ago when you were flying off to hell in a cell. Like, those were the sound bites. The sound bites coming into my mind. Will somebody stop the damn match? Those were the kind of things coming through. I mean, it was absolutely mad. Absolutely mad. Speaking of mad, actually, just before we come into the G-Man's comments and also throw out to the Skypers, we've had a text in from you-know-who. Just on the train home from...
Throw them teas up!
Just on the train home from Skegness, and I'm not making this up. I've just heard the most crazy, random, disgusting thing I've ever heard in my life. Been shouted at in a conversation in the first class coach of my train. Oh my God. Woman, what the F are you doing? No, I can't read that. I can't. Big T's wrong. Let's put it this way. What the F are you doing? There's a white substance everywhere. Should I tell a member of staff on the train in the back about this? I'm quite worried. Yours truly, Big T. Big T, you know you is wrong. I had to work around what he actually said, but no, my Big T's are wrong.
One half of the tag team champions of the world.
Of being wrong. I love it. G-Man, what was your view on the week's matches? Where is he? G-Man!
He's had his view. Silence.
But no, it's one of them. Congratulations to Chile on winning the Copa America, and Alexis Sanchez's penalty was absolute mockage. Congratulations to the Lionesses. I mean, creating history, and they were absolutely fantastic. So it is one of them ones. Big shout outs to the Lionesses. And
let's not forget commiserations to Japan.
Of course.
All right, but here's the thing. Repeating is difficult.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's not forget that. And of course, commiserations to Argentina and Lionel Messi. Now, here's the thing. There are so many Messi haters out there that are just
saying
like...
he went silent and all that. But one man can't do everything. And one man shouldn't be expected to do everything.
This is the thing, right? He is just one man. Like, yes, he has otherworldly footballing talent. But he is one man on an 11-man team.
He is still a mere mortal.
He may be able to take games by the scruff of the neck. Like, for example, a semi-final where he shines. But he needs help. He needs support. He needs the other players to play.
Yeah.
Right? I tell you who he's reminding me of now in terms of stature and, you know, the fact that the real major trophy has eluded him. And that's Johan Cruyff.
Okay, yeah.
That's who he's reminding me of. Because here's the thing. Absolutely brilliant player. There are other brilliant players in the team.
Yeah.
Right? The likes of Di Maria, Javier Mascherano.
Yep. Gonzalo Higuain.
Right? Higuain, Lavezzi, Aguero.
Tevez, there's so many others.
Right? But they all need to just put it together. Right? Whereas you look at Chile, and I will say this. The beautiful thing about that Chile side is, okay, you've got maybe 1, 2, 3, possibly 4 stars tops. And that's it, right? But if you want to talk about a team, that's what they are. They are a team, right? You don't just beat one man, which in the case of Argentina, it feels like if you beat Lionel Messi somehow, right? You beat the whole team, right? Whereas with Chile, you have to beat the whole team. They've been so together for me since just before the last World Cup. This has been coming, right? Because they've got a well and tight nucleus of players, right? That just all come together at just the right time. And then, of course, you have Alexis Sanchez seeming to either be at a peak or ascending towards a peak of his footballing ability.
Yeah.
And as I say, the sun, the moon, and the stars, they all aligned.
Yeah.
That's what's happened here with this Chile team. But at the same time, you know, for all those Messi haters out there, I say, look, let's look at his trophy cabinet. Right? Let's look at your trophy cabinet. Look back at his trophy cabinet. And then just pipe down.
It's the old, instead of an Old Spice rant, it's an old Messi. Actually, old Messi sounds wrong. Anyway, leaving that one aside. I mean, G-Man, you there? You want to jump in?
Yeah. Sorry about that,
Mike.
Your view on the week's results before we throw out to the Skypers.
Yeah, I was listening to yourself and Jezzy Fizzle talk about the women's football, Sweden. Obviously, just then we was talking about the Chile Argentina final. I'll start with the Sweden versus Portugal result, which was a good result for Sweden, I want to say. I had never watched any of the games during the under-21s European finals, but I did catch some of the highlights, and I did watch the penalty shootout for the final, and it's quite befitting that and a player that Arsenal was linked to missed that final and crucial penalty. And, you know, it was quite heartbreaking for Portugal, who probably thought they were going to go and win the tournament after some of the big guns like Italy and supposedly England under 21s dropped out. But Sweden done themselves proud. So give them full props for that. But yeah, just touching on some of the stuff that you were saying about the women's football, because I got to say, there's bits and pieces that I disagree with you and Jesse Fizzle, especially with.
All right.
I understand now.
I got something for you. Don't worry.
No, I understand now that you want to start flinging around the titles, bandwagon jumpers, and that, but that both of yourselves can look at yourselves as bandwagon jumpers right now.
Yeah.
Women's football, like, you know, pre a couple of years, you wasn't really on it. Even last season, we just touched upon it on this show.
I'm not criticizing anyone for being a bandwagon.
I'm just saying, when you throwing those little titles out for people that have jumped on it, like recently at the World Cup, you just got to, you know, be a bit more understanding that the women's game is a more developmental and a developmental stage at its presence. You know, it wasn't as exposed to it. So for some of us, and I'm still, as you will find out in a blog that I'm writing at the moment, I'm still not quite on board with the women's game yet. It still hasn't tickled my fancy. It still isn't one, even though, you know, if you want to look from it from a point of view where you want to say, well, there's women playing football, it's something new, it's enjoyable, it's great, but it's just still something that for some reason or whatever it is, you know, I don't find that extra time just to sit down and watch a women's game. You know, I'm going to try and explain.
You know, I'm not one of them ones where I'm criticizing people for being bandwagon jumpers because of the World Cup. I'm just saying that what I said earlier in terms of someone saying, oh, those who treat women's football with equality have better women's teams. That's just common sense. If you treat anyone with equality, then what you're doing is you're leveling the playing field. And if everyone has an equal chance to succeed, then it's one of them ones. They can succeed. That's where I'm going. But I'm not going to criticize anyone for being a bandwagon jumper for jumping on.
You could even question that point in itself, because, you know, there was a point in the men's game where, and there still is, where, you know, sometimes it's not about the equality factor, and I'm not talking about in terms of women being diagnosed as, you know, the lesser being of the footballing world. I'm talking about in terms of the coverage that they get in the game, the sort of probably the respect that they feel that they're due, and also, you know, just the fact that they might compare themselves with the men's game and thinking, why don't we get the sort of what is it? Why don't we get the sort of following, the backing, you know, the pride pushed into our game that's in the men's game, yeah? And the fact is, with the point about the equality, yeah, sometimes it works. Like for the women's game, yeah, where you was talking about the stats earlier, it's worked in their favor in terms of, you know, the little and the less known about a situation, yeah, as soon as it's put in front of a couple of people, they start to see the golden nuggets around it. And it's just like smaller teams that sometimes make it to the World Cup, or just like what Jesse, you know, you can encompass the whole fact of the Chile factor in the Copa America, them being the host, but not really being the favourites. Yet, you know, not everyone knowing about their team and potentially how strong they are, they were surprise factors, you know? And obviously they shocked a lot of people getting to where they got in the final, and then going on to hold out against the world's best player, because everyone seems to think the world's best player is Messi, yeah, and he is. But when I say that, I'm saying it in jest, because I'm saying that the world's best player isn't just on the pitch by himself. He's got a 10 other players with him, yeah, who are, you know, equally on their own right as good, because they got to the final too. They just weren't good enough to win it.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying with the women's game now, going back to the point is, from my personal beliefs, I'm not going to say anything. My personal beliefs is that it hasn't tickled my fancy. I said once ages ago, you know, when you have something pushed upon you, like, and you know, you've been told you should watch this, you need to watch this, this is where it is. It's just like when Breaking Bad came out and everyone was saying, look, you need to watch this. I was probably, and Boondocks, Liam, when everyone was saying Boondocks, you need to watch this, this is the one, you need to watch this. It was like, we were like, hell no, I'm going to watch this in my own time. I'm not falling for the hype. When I'm ready for it, I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, no, same here. I haven't watched Breaking Bad yet anyways.
With the women's game, that's what happened to me. And then when I did turn it on, I go and watch a match and I saw an incident. And this is going back to a point Jesse made earlier on, where it actually did happen to me. Where I saw an incident, and I know it happens in the men's game, but where I think it was either the
Nigeria or Australia, I think is where you're going with this, isn't it?
Yeah, held the ball. The referee was right there, turned around in front of the referee, threw the ball back to the goalkeeper and walked off. And the referee didn't even give a penalty, didn't even give a sending off, didn't even shimmer a yellow card, didn't even make a decision. It was just like, for me, it was like, so you want me to watch this? And I know that some people are going to say, well, that's kind of arrogant. You know, we've seen some of the world's best referees make mistakes, and we've seen in football there's some comical things. But I'm saying when you're exposed to something new and, you know, you've been told this is the need to watch, and then you see that, you see that for the first time, it's like, you make a decision, innit? You just make a decision to say, look, am I going to continue watching this? Is it worth it? Or is there something else I can be doing better with my time? Just catch the highlights or something and, you know, catch the best 5 to 8 minutes later on down the road.
But you know what? I think that's a bit unfair to judge the women's game basically on one match.
Well,
because as said, the fact of the matter is, there are some games that weren't of that good standard. But as I said, the women's game is still developing, and there are certain
it happens in the men's game as well. Like Euros, people get turned off by the Euros for the fact, like, what was it in 2000 and in Poland? I think it was 2010.
Germany.
Some of the matches started off slow. I remember looking at Twitter, people were angry, disgruntled, and saying, "Oh, these are boring matches. Everything's a draw. I don't want to watch this. I'm not watching this." You know, England fans in general turn off England after one match when a World Cup start moaning and crying and talking about, "I can't watch this rubbish. England ain't good enough. They're meant to be beating these teams." So I wouldn't say it's unfair. It's just about there's one thing Nathan Arsenal has said, and it shimmers to my mind a lot these days, because it's like expectations. That's what it is about. And I guess my expectations for what I want to see at the top of the women's game is just not quite there yet. And I know, again, it might sound a bit arrogant, but again, if it's pushed in your face in a certain way, you know, you're going to expect a certain a level. And when that level is not of what you expect, me personally, I'm going to say, like, you know what, like I said, I'll catch the highlights. I don't think I can sit down and watch 24 games of this, you know, or whatnot. But like you said, it's a growing sport in this country. It's a developmental sport, and, you know, there's many reasons for why people are jumping on the bandwagon now, and many reasons why people aren't watching. And I'll go into deeper reasons, you know, in my blog.
Hey, listen, I'll be one of the first people to comment on that.
Yeah,
right?
same here.
But here's my rebuttal to you.
Yeah, and I've got one as well.
Now, in terms of just jumping on the bandwagon with this women's football thing, here's the thing. You may not know this, but I'm actually an Arsenal fan. I'm a fan of the Arsenal ladies. Straight up. Big fan. I'm a Kelly Smith fan. I'm an Alex Scott fan. I was a Rachel Yankee fan. Right? So
I think Gav's just left the room.
Yeah, he's had enough now.
No, I'm still here.
No, I just heard the doo-doo noise. I thought, yep, he's left.
I know, because I'm trying to multitask right now, but no, I'm still here.
But Jesse, Carol.
So you know, and here's the thing: I had an eye on the WSL. You know, I'm subscribed to the YouTube page. I check out the highlights every so often. So, you know, I know what's going on. I got my ear to the ground. So, that, you know, the women's football's not new to me. It's not new.
You know what?
Right? But here's the other thing that I will say to you. I do see your point, right? Because generally speaking, if a person is willing to change will happen, right? And it will be very easy. But if a person's not willing to change and somebody's like, well, you have to do this and you have to do this and you have to do this, it won't happen. It won't happen. And I'm just talking about life in general, right? I'm not even going with the specifics of women's football here, right? Because it kind of applies to everything. So I understand that, okay? But we'll give you a couple of recommendations from this Women's World Cup, okay? Recommendation number 1, France v Germany.
Yeah, easily.
Okay. Then, of course, just look at both of the semi-finals. Okay. And then, of course, you got the final. Look at all of that. Right? And I also have a recommendation. It's called Heroes, the History of the Women's World Cup. It's on BBC iPlayer still, I believe. Go and watch that, right? Because there you see the evolution of the game. Women's game, right? Because I watched that. I thought it was a very, very well done documentary, far better than United Passions.
Not hard to be better than that, is it?
Right? But here's my thing. It's like I can't blame you. I can't blame you because here's the other bit, right? We are so used to so much more. It's difficult. It's difficult. But at the same time, you know, here's my thing. I watch football all over the world. As you know, I'm a big fan of the Brasileirão, big fan of the Eredivisie. So, you know, it's just how it works.
You know what? I think also.
And of course, Serie A. Let's not forget Serie A. Big fan of Serie A as well.
You know what? I mean, there are certain things that G-Man has said that I can understand. I might not necessarily agree with, but I can understand. But the fact of the matter is, it is a case of there are always extenuating circumstances as well as to what there were huge extenuating circumstances as to why the women's game is not as developed as the men's game. So it's one of them was people saying, oh, you got to watch this, you got to watch that, you got to watch that. You got to go into it with an open mind. And I said, especially with the extenuating circumstances, for me, it's just like watching amateur league football. I can easily go and watch an amateur league game and be entertained by it, but others may not be fans of the standard. But for me, it's a case of you've got to take in extenuating circumstances. Like at IBIS level, the football's not going to be anywhere near as good as Premier League level. But I will still sell. I will legitimately still sell IBIS Football Club as every bit as good as a Premier League club. Not only because I love the club, but also not just because I love the club, but also the fact of the matter is the amateur game is developing. So it is one of them. But at the end of the day, there's not the infrastructure, there's not the money floating around in amateur league football or in women's football as there is in the professional men's game. So there's always got to be those extenuating circumstances that you have to bear in mind. You can't expect players who quite a few of them are basically semi-professionals because they're holding down jobs on the side, and because they can't earn a full living wage from just football. It's one of them ones. The fact of the matter is that has to be boring. You have to bear that in mind. It's that kind of thing. I mean, like with the Ivory Coast players, a lot of them are amateur players. It's like when Tahiti were in the Confederations Cup. A lot of people kind of fell in love with them because it was just a story. It was the true underdog story. And I'm not trying to steal the slogan from the Dodgeball movie, but it was a true underdog story where it was like this basically an amateur league side has gotten to the Confederations Cup playing against Spain and everyone got behind it. But with women's football, as said, a lot of those teams are not fully professional. So for them doing what they're doing and putting on the show they have in the FIFA Women's World Cup is tremendous. I think it's been an absolutely fantastic tournament. I personally enjoyed watching as many games as I have. And hey, it's one of them ones. Women's football is an area of the game. G-Man, Jezzy, obviously I've spoken to you guys about this. Yeah. And at the end of the day, the women's game is an area of the game that I've wanted to get into for at least 3-4 years. But it's access. I can't afford BT Sport. So I'm having to access it in other ways through the FAWSL's YouTube page and highlights such as that, selective highlights. So for some of us, it's an access thing, which is why we can't be more into the game. For me, that's the only obstacle is access. So,
well, you know what? I think people get misconstrued this because they just, I think I've made one point, but I've got a few points where I'm just, tinkering on this idea that it's not for everybody at the moment. Because at the end of the day, for me personally, yeah, and this is going to be one of my points, tribalism is one of them. Now, when I first came out, I supported Arsenal. Yeah, that was at 7 years old. Yeah, I was basically, it was an endorsement for a friend. Yeah, he supported Arsenal. I respected him highly. I then supported Arsenal. There was a crew of us that supported Arsenal. It's just blossomed from there. Yeah. Now, there was no women's football accessible to those days. So what I'm trying to say with the way women's football is.
Oh, I think G-Man's just dropped. Unfortunately, G-Man, I think his connection's just dropped off. G-Man, you there? You back? Gav, you there? You back? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think he's still having some technical difficulties.
I'm still here.
Oh, he's back now. Okay.
Oh, cool. Carry on with your point. You just dropped off.
Yeah, for instance, with just the emergence of women's football today. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't hold the same passion for it. It's got nothing to do with because it's women's football. It's just a new league. To me, the way I see it, women's football, it's just a new league. Yeah,
but that's the key word. New.
Regardless of whether they have Arsenal women's football team, I've only known Arsenal's men's team. Yeah. Now, the way I see Arsenal women's football team is they are, some will say it's inseparable. They're an Arsenal team, but it's not the same team that I grew up with. That's why I don't hold the same sort of passion for them. That's why you don't see me over talking about the Arsenal players. Like for instance, Jezzy, Manchester United don't really have a women's football team.
They just don't have a women's team. Them and Southampton are two of the big sides.
The Arsenal football team, and for me, in terms of the women's game, I don't know enough about the women's game just to say, yeah, I like Arsenal because I support Arsenal FC.
No, nor do I. But at the end of the day, the more you watch the game, the more you're exposed to it.
How long has the WSL been out for?
It's not been around that long, has it?
It's in its second season.
Yeah. But the fact of the matter is, as I said, it's a growing game and it's a developing game. So
it's a growing game, it's a developing game, and it's one of those ones where it has to, you can't criticize people for not liking it for what they see, because you got to grow into it.
No, of course, I'm not criticizing people for not liking it.
Where on the bandwagon hopping, you are going to hop off that train and jump onto it. Yeah. Eventually, as all lovers of football, we will be there. Maybe it might be one day England win the World Cup and you'll see me running down the street rocking a women's top with Rachel Yankee on the back.
Yeah, but
it's just like. But I tell you where my dig came from, okay, to who I like to refer to as the uninitiated, right? The reason why that dig came out is because of the announcement of the inclusion of women's football in a wonderful football series known as FIFA, okay? So it was the backlash from a lot of FIFA fans in regards to that really kind of made me want to say that. It wasn't so much of, well, if you don't watch women's football, then you're an idiot. No, that's not it.
No, of course not.
As I say, I get that, you know, as I say, it's not, as you rightly pointed out, it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
It's really not. I just happen to enjoy it. Right? I happen to think that there are some really very talented women playing football who could arguably give the men a run for their money and then some.
Yeah.
You know, for example, if I was to put together a fantasy team with some of the players from this year's World Cup, you know, I'd say I'd probably have Sasic up front. I'd want to have Marta in my squad somewhere.
A Lady Andrade, I'd have Karen Carney, I'd have as well. I'd have Steph Houghton at the back. I'd take Laura Bassett at the back as well.
Right. So, you know, like even little things like that where, you know, I end up entertaining myself in that way. Like I'd have Louisa Nassib and Amandine Henry in my team personally. Right? But that's just a way to expand it. Now, here's an idea that EA Sports can go and pay me money for. How about, okay, the WSL Ultimate Team?
Yeah. Fair. Put Farrah Williams straight in.
Right? You can give me some money for that. Because I presented the idea right here, right now. WSL Ultimate Team. Pay me. Right? But no, seriously, it was more for those people that said, oh, well, it's gonna be that there's gonna be loads of goals every game and it's gonna be perfectly boring and this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. Those were the people that I was really saying that to.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the likes of yourself. Yeah. Because here's the other thing. If you go through the tournament, yes, earlier on there were lots of goals, and then towards the end you started to see more defending. The games were tighter, they were much more interesting. I will say this, a lot of those games are actually far more interesting than a lot of men's games I've watched. And I'm not just talking about in the last few years, I'm talking about in my whole football watching career as a football fan.
I'm not just talking about Chelsea either. But
you know, but again, that's my personal opinion. That's not necessarily your personal opinion. We don't have to agree, and that's okay.
One question I do want to ask you.
Yeah.
Is that feeling that you have, you know, especially with later on in the stages, you saying it's more interesting in what you've seen in football, men's football, yeah. But is that interest mainly for the fact that you're now entwined in a world that you haven't been in before? It's like it's all new to you. Like you know, like I said, you're seeing different players, different styles. You know, it's just all new to you. You're learning. You're actually learning, because in men's game, you know, it's so developed. You can go on play FIFA for a week, and you can know more than someone that, you know, might watch the game, but because you're playing FIFA and you're playing in multiple different leagues, you're learning more about the different leagues, whereas a person might only have access to, you know, Sky One, and he's only watching Premier League football. You get what I'm saying? Whereas,
no, I do hear you, and for me that really happened with Championship Manager back in the day, and then later on Football Manager, in terms of that expansion of horizons. But here's the thing, it's a lot like when I watched the Eredivisie for the first time, or even the Brasileirão for the first time, right? I'd heard of these teams, but I'd never actually watched them before, right? And then, of course, you know, you actually take the time to watch a game. You know, my personal favorites are the big derbies in Brazil, right? And you actually see, actually, right, even though it's not as prominent a league, because it's not, you know, heavily featured everywhere all the time, like, for example, Serie A, or La Liga, or the Premier League, or even the Bundesliga, right? There's still some very, very good players, and the players actually play some very, very good football. Tactically, there's a lot going on in the game. You know, so there's so many different aspects of it to analyze. But like you say, it might be because it's new, or it might just be that, hey, look, I'm a football fan. You can give me football anywhere, and I'd probably break it down in exactly the same way.
You know what? I want to jump in. I agree with you on that point, and I think it's a case of I don't think it's just a case of it's new and we're just learning about it. Because at the end of the day, on a personal note, when it comes to football, I feel like I am always learning something about football. I'm always learning something, no matter whether I'm watching the Premier League, Championship, League One, La Liga, whatever the league may be, I'm always going to learn something. I'm always going to walk away from that game knowing something that I didn't know an hour and a half before, or 2 hours before if there's extra time. And it's a case of with the Lionesses, I felt the same pride rolling out to work, rolling out to other places, wearing my England shirt, saying to people, oh, you know the Lionesses are on today, right? You know they're on today. Hey, they get supported, man. Come on, get supported. Still England, no matter what. I have no problem doing that. It's one of them ones. I was wearing my Euro 96 England shirt when the Lionesses were in the semi-final. The significance of that was probably lost on a lot of people, but the fact is that was the last time that any England team had reached it. That was the last time that any England senior team had reached the semi-final. It was Euro 96. So I thought, let me wear this because the Lionesses are in the semi-final this time. So it was one of them. As I said, I felt as much pride wearing my England shirt in honor of the Lionesses that I do whenever I wear it for the men's senior side. And the fact of the matter is, yeah, part of the allure of the women's game is the fact that it's the old, if you haven't seen it, then it's new to you. There is that part of it, but also it's very, I find it intriguing to watch a game develop and see a club develop. And hell, we're going to be doing that this weekend up at Hackney Wick FC. We're going to be seeing the birth of a club this weekend. So to me, that sort of thing is intriguing. Seeing someone at the start of a journey, or seeing an entity at the start of a journey. I said, we're going to do that. Hackney Wick FC this weekend, July 11th. Saturday, July 11th. We are going to see the birth of a team at Mabley Green. So that's where my intrigue is. And I said, I've been wanting to get into the women's game, but it's just access. But hey, via entities such as Girls on the Ball and other entities as well, we've getting access is a little easier. So it's one of them ones. It's learning experiences, but it's also intriguing to see something develop from the ground up. And me being part of the committee at Ibis FC, who's an amateur league club, we've had issues and that kind of thing. Been around as a club for a long time, but there's development happening there. There's growth happening there. We saw a bit of growth happening at Alexandra Park FC with their kit launch, which was a real seminal moment for them. So that's where the intrigue for me would come. But you know what? It is one of them ones. Russ Vernon, you wanted to jump in before we move on the week's results. Yeah, if you want to jump in quickly, because we got to move and groove on. We still got a lot more shock.
Yes, first and foremost, I just want to say congratulations to the USA ladies team. I thought they played brilliantly yesterday and deserved the 5-2 win in the Women's World Cup final, which I thought was a fantastic game. Also, I just want to say the Lionesses have done the country proud and should be proud of themselves, finishing third, making history all the way through. Very proud of the team, and I thought they played absolutely brilliant against Germany. Could have easily won it in normal time. It should have gone to extra time, in my opinion. Also, I just want to say the Copa America, I was watching that at the same time as the England Lionesses game, and I thought Chile were going to win it. I had a feeling Chile were going to win the game, but I didn't think it were going to go to penalties. Well, it was 4 penalties from Argentina, and I must say, my England player of the tournament for the England Lionesses has got to be either Farrah Williams or Lucy Bronze. So Lucy Bronze had a fantastic game down the right hand side and did well. And I thought Cora Lloyd played brilliantly yesterday for the USA. She totally won the show for me for USA and dominated Japan. I was watching it talking to Tom on Skype at the same time as watching the USA game. So he thought it was a good game as well. And I thought it was a good game as well. Mike can't be here this week due to his technical problems with his laptop. So he sends his regards and says hello to all the pitch talkers. They told me to say it. And they send me stuff for the week for later on in the program as well, Liam. So I'll give that mention to Mike.
And we say a big hello to him as well. Mike Kahneman, big shouts.
Yep, and I just want to ask you a quick question, Liam.
Yeah, shoot.
In the women's game, I've got two teams in the women's. One is Leeds Ladies, who are in the Women's Premier League side, and from the FAWSL, at the moment is going to be Man City, but from next season, I'm going to be supporting Sheffield FC Ladies, and I'm hopefully going to try and get one of their managers to get in contact. If that's okay. And I just want to know who's your team that you're following, the women FAWSL team league.
Well, for me personally, I lean slightly towards the Liverpool Ladies because I support the men's side, but it's a case of I haven't picked one side to necessarily be behind because I don't know enough about it yet. I don't know enough about the FAWSL yet. So it's one of them, as I said, I lean towards the Liverpool Ladies because I support the men's side. But yeah, that's my answer. And obviously Jesse Fizzle gave his answer earlier as well. But I mean, it is one of them. Obviously the game is growing, and some of us don't know as much about it as we'd want to. I mean, I personally don't know as much as I want to about it, but it takes time. Everything takes time. So that's one of them ones. I mean, Ryan Sonley, did you wanted to jump in on the week's results as well, didn't you?
Yeah, England women were really unlucky against Norway. No, it wasn't even Norway. Sorry, I'm half asleep after having a long day today. Been up since 9 o'clock.
But yeah, your view. Your view. We need to move on a bit.
England women's game where scored past it for the own goal.
Yeah.
That was. I mean, I was a bit off, like near enough in tears for her because you could see that it had upset her because it was. She knew it was the last minute, and I mean, but the rest of the tournament, I thought they did well. I mean, they did well in that game. They didn't even deserve to lose. I mean, penalty incidents were first one. Their penalty was definitely outside the box. I mean, it should have been given as a free kick, and because the England left back didn't power in the box, which I didn't understand. And England's penalty, yeah, I thought it was a pen, but it was soft. But it's just unfortunate that it happened.
Yeah.
But I thought came back well against.
Well, I mean, it's one of them ones where it's good. It's good that there was that you had that pride in the Lionesses because that's one of the important things, and one of the major things that I personally see with this with the FIFA Women's World Cup is a case of momentum, and momentum is key. And considering the FAWSL starts so soon back after as well, that's a great chance to continue that momentum because the women's game for years has been massive in the United States, but it's taken a little longer over here. But we've discussed on numerous shows about the men's game basically monopolizing it, and do the men's game have to move out of the way for the women's game to develop? I mean, we did actually ask that question to women's football aficionados, girls on the ball as well, in their Pitch Talk Meets interview, which is on youtube.com/Pitch Talk. I mean, it is one of them ones where it's an interesting little conundrum. But you know what? Just jumping over to Facebook quickly. Actually, just had something coming from Jennifer Evans, and big shout out to her as well. She said, just have to drop this for. I haven't got any desire to watch the women's game at all on any level. If there was a choice and the English men were playing at the same time as the Lionesses, I would guess that 95%, if not higher, of football fans would choose the men's game to watch without a doubt. It's only because the men's game is in such a poor state of disrepair that anyone is paying attention to the women's game. It's the consolation effect. I can't help but also think how much has the growing support of the women's game got to do with being seen to be politically correct. It's a very interesting. That's actually a very interesting point there.
Yeah.
And some people would potentially choose the men's side over the women's side, and that's fair dues. The men's game is more established. A lot of people know more about it, which of course is what the G-Man was alluding to earlier. But also, the consolation effect. I can't say I personally agree with that. I'm not watching the Lionesses because the men's team are doing so poor. I'm into. As like I said earlier, like I said to you, Jezzy, I've said to G-Man before, and you know my views on it. It's a case of, for at least the last 3-4 years, I've wanted to watch more women's football, but I just haven't had the access. So for me, the consolation effect thing that Jennifer Evans mentioned, and thank you for that thought, by the way, I personally don't agree with, and that doesn't count. That I personally wouldn't count myself in that bracket. Political correctness. Those who know me personally know about my views on political correctness.
Yeah,
so
you're not PC at all.
So it's one of them ones. I will leave it at that. Because otherwise I'm on behalf of Pitch Talk, I may end up burying myself. But it is one of them ones. Political correctness. I have my less than reserved opinions about that. But the fact of the matter is, I said I'm intrigued to see something new. I don't mind if I can make the time, if I can get the time, and if I can get the access to see something new, which is why this World Cup, like I've said to many people, it being on BBC has been fantastic because it's given access. In 2011, I personally didn't have that level of access to the Women's World Cup, but with the friendlies being on BBC, with tournament matches being on BBC, it's fantastic. So that's where I go. I mean, Jezzy, what would your response be to what Jennifer Evans has said on Facebook?
Well, I don't think it's a consolation effect at all. I mean, the other thing is, and I use, say, for example, Canada and America, specifically America, as my main example, right? Over there, arguably, the women are bigger in terms of stature than the men.
Have been for a while.
In terms of soccer, right? But here's the thing: maybe it's because the country's just flat out patriotic, right? Where, you know, if anybody's involved and they happen to be from that country doing anything, they're uber supportive. Maybe it's that, right? But for me, I don't think it washes. I think obviously it's easier with there being a significant lull in the men's game. Now, just to kind of give a slightly similar but opposite example, right? Under 21 tournaments going on, I'm really not that fussed. I'm really not that fussed about under 21s because here's the thing, right? The majority of those players, especially for England, that go on to represent the national team at senior level, not that high. Not that high. I'm probably more interested, say, for example, if there's a specific transfer target that my club is after.
Yeah.
Or it's a young talent that I happen to find either on Football Manager or Pro Evolution Soccer, right? Where I'm like, actually, I probably should watch them play at some point.
Yeah.
Right? Those are the kind of levels of interest for me. And I'm not knocking anybody who makes the time to watch youth games, because here's the thing, you're watching the stars of the future. That's where they all start. And in some cases, that's where they don't start, because here's the bit. They have that part of their career, and then in a lot of cases, nothing happens. Like, those were their best years playing, full stop. Right? So I kind of see your point. Now, when the football season's in full swing, right, is it difficult for me to watch all the games? Absolutely. Here's the thing, right? As much as I love doing Monday Night Morning Fix, I got a busy life. Okay, to say that I can fit everything in, you know, all the time, I don't. Right? That's why I'm so grateful for Match of the Day. And half the time I don't watch Match of the Day until Monday.
Yeah, same here sometimes.
Right? Because of scheduling issues. So here's the other bit. Right? The fact that I can go and watch highlights from the WSL on YouTube, to me, I am so grateful. Right? Because when I'm done watching those, when I'm done watching Serie A highlights, when I'm done watching Brasileirão highlights, when I'm done watching Eredivisie highlights, that's a lot of highlights. Right? We haven't even got onto full games. It's like, I don't, you know, I'm lucky to watch a full game these days because of how long it takes. Right? That's why in a lot of cases I might even end up listening to a game, right? And following it on social media over watching it because I just don't have the time.
Well, of course. I mean, it's one of them ones where obviously with the prep, with all the prep that we put into this show over the week, sometimes there's not time to catch up on as much as we really want to.
This is it.
Along with doing like basically working.
Yeah, and living life. You know, like with all of that together, it's quite difficult. But you know, I think the other thing is, I suppose, given the choice, if they were on at the same time, I'd try to catch both, or I'd watch one and at least follow the other. I would say that. But you know, I think the real trick is not to have them both playing at the same time. It's really not that difficult to schedule that. I mean, if you just look at the scheduling of the major tournaments, right? The women's major tournament comes right after the men's. Why? Because if they had them at the same time, there's really nobody to watch them. Either one.
Yeah. Well, it's like when WCW Nitro started up against Raw. You divide the audience.
Yeah. And it's really not in your best interest. So as I say, I think, yeah, if it's staggered, then there's no reason why you can't support both. Right? We have Skypers that support 2 teams, in some cases 3 teams. You know? So, for example, you ask me, what team do you like in Serie A? I'd say, well, you know, do like AC Milan. I've liked them for a long time. I like Inter too, but that's because I'm a Milano. And then, of course, Roma have a special place in my heart because of my ex. Right? Then Udinese, I just loved them from my Football Manager days.
No, I hear that.
Right, and that's all in the same league.
Yeah.
In the Eredivisie, I have to say, it's Ajax. Right? In the Brasileirão, I can't even tell you one team specifically because I just happen to like so many of them. But if I had to pick one, I'd probably go with Santos.
Yeah.
And that's because of Neymar and Pele. But, you know, it's just how it works out.
But I mean, Gianluca Lia has actually said something very interesting in the Skype chat. Would you like to say that out? Because that's actually a very interesting point.
On which part? On the part that I follow too much matches?
Yeah, that's quite an interesting point.
Yeah, let's say I will give you a brief draft of my weekend every weekend from August to May or June. Basically, every Friday, I usually watch the Bundesliga match and even the Serie B match.
Yeah.
And sometimes when there is also the Football League matches or Spanish La Liga, but mainly I watch Bundesliga and Serie B.
Yeah.
Then on Saturday I start from 11 from the morning. There is the Youth League of Italy.
Yeah.
I mainly watch Juventus, but I watch all the matches that are transmitted on television. Then at 13:45 here, there is the first match of the Premier League as always, or even Championship. And I watch the Premier and then follow League 1 or League 2, sorry, because of Stevenage as well. In the meantime, there is the Maltese Premier League as well going on, so I have to work up on it as well from the stadium many times.
Yeah.
And then in the evening and in the night is the most busy schedule actually, because there is 2 matches of Serie A, there is La Liga from 1900 onwards, there is Bundesliga at 18:30, and sometimes there is some top matches in Portugal as well. So basically Saturday is always busy. Then Sunday, of course, full day of Serie A, La Liga from 12 onwards, Eredivisie sometimes as well, depends on the matches.
Yeah.
Also, while working up on Maltese football as always, then MLS takes place between 1 in the morning or 2 in the morning. So actually, I rarely sleep in the weekends.
Yeah. See, it's one of them ones. I mean, with watching that many games, obviously the weekend is completely taken up by football. I mean, with say, I'd use myself as an example. It's one of them ones. It's one of them ones on a Friday. I'm working anyway, so it's one of them ones that knocks me out for pretty much the whole day. In terms of availability, come back, got life to sort out. It's one of them ones. I'm not a spring chicken. Well, I am still a spring chicken technically, but it's one of them ones. I'm 29 years old. I got other stuff to deal with other than watching football. And it's one of them ones. Obviously, with the weekends, I play for Ibis, so that pretty much takes me out from anywhere between say 10:30 in the morning. Especially with when I was captain in the 4 side, I'll be up from like 9:30, 10 in the morning, just making sure organization's good and all that, and everyone's getting to the match. Kicking off at 3, and then potentially watching the 5:30 game if I can, but that would be missing a 3 o'clock game, missing the 12:45 game. Sunday, watch a couple of games, but the 3 of us will obviously be preparing the pitch talk shows and that kind of thing. So there's so much in terms of balancing. And plus, hey, it's one of them ones. I like a drink on a Friday night after work. I like a drink on a Saturday night. It's one of them ones. Go out and socialize and enjoy the company of others. So there's just so much to fit in. There is just so much to fit in life. So it's one of them ones. I mean, if I'm watching Premier League football, then watching the Football League show, hey, that suits me. But there's a lot of times where I'm not in on Saturday, but I'll catch up on that on Sunday evening, or I might have to leave it till Monday and catch up on it. So it schedules. I'll watch as much football as I can. But it's one of them ones where some people can make more time than others and can stay up longer than others and end up end up burning the candle at both ends, as I like to say. Some unadulterated candle burning if you're waking up at like 10 in the morning watching football right the way through till like 3-4 in the morning, and you're doing that every weekend. Hey, that is legitimately some unadulterated candle burning. Some people can do it, some people can't. But with some of us, life gets in the way. So especially when you got rent to pay, you got other things to deal with as well. So it's one of them. So it's a difficult one. It is legitimately a difficult one to watch as many games as I would personally want to. But I'm not complaining about it. But I'm saying, but coming back to Jennifer Evans's point, for me, it's not the consolation effect. If I'm going to make time to watch something, I will get into it. It's like pro wrestling in the 90s. I used to make time to watch that, and I got into it because I made the time to watch it, and I watched it on a regular basis. And as time went on, I learned more. I went back and watched other things when I had the time as well. So it's one of them ones. There's scope. There's scope there. I will say that much. But you know what? Yeah, it is one of them ones where, wow, time is pressing on. So it is about that time for us to pause that particular track, because it's one of those results analysis that take up quite a bit of the show right there. But I love that. It's tremendous. It is tremendous. But you know what? It is time to go into a bit of
Gentlemen, talking points.
It's Monday night and you're tuned into Pitch Talk Live. Also on the podcast, on a new place it is. This is football chat around a bit of banter too. This is PT Live, hash PT Live. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. This is Pitch Talk. Yeah. You know what? Let's roll into Nathaniel Klein. Liverpool signed defender a £12.5 million deal. Liverpool signed Nathaniel Klein from Southampton for £12.5 million. They originally had a £10 million million for the England right back rejected, but the 24-year-old has now agreed a 5-year deal with the Premier League side. Speaking of Liverpool, there's an outgoing. Sebastian Coates joins Sunderland. Defender Sebastian Coates has completed his move away from Liverpool, joining Sunderland for a reported £4 million. The 24-year-old Uruguayan joins the Black Caps after spending last season on loan there, making 10 Premier League appearances and impressing towards the end of the campaign under Dick Advocat. Radmel Falcao, Chelsea signed Monaco striker on loan. Chelsea have signed Monaco striker Radmel Falcao on loan for a season-long loan with the option to make the deal permanent. The 29-year-old Colombia international spent last season on loan at Manchester United, scoring 4 goals in 29 games, and most of the time being
-5 stars.
But that's just personal opinion. Anyway, Lucas Podolski, Arsenal striker, signs for Galatasaray from 4th of July 2015. Striker Lucas Podolski has joined Galatasaray from Arsenal on a 3-year deal for an initial £1.8 million. The Turkish champions will pay future installments based on their qualification for the Champions League. Podolski, who's 30, moved to Arsenal from German side FC Köln in 2012 for a reported £11 million and scored 31 goals in 82 appearances for Arsenal. Tom Ince, Derby County, signed Hull City winger for club record fee. Derby County on the 3rd of July signed Hull City winger Tom Ince for a club record fee understood to be around £4.75 million. The 23-year-old scored 11 goals in 18 games whilst on loan at the Rams last season and becomes the 6th player to join this summer. I can't say that. Nani Fenerbahce signed Man United winger for £4.25 million on the 6th of July 2015. That's today. Man United winger Nani has joined Turkish side Fenerbahce for £4.25 million. He scored 40 goals in 229 appearances for Man United following his move in 2007 from Sporting Lisbon. He spent last season back on loan with them, scoring 11 times. Troy Deeney extended his Watford contract until 2020. He scored 20. The 27-year-old scored 21 times as the Hornets won automatic promotion to the Premier League last season. Swansea City inquired about his availability in June, but Deeney has now extended his contract, which was due to expire in 2018. The ex-Walsall striker became Watford's first player to score 20 goals or more in 3 straight seasons last season. Watford, staying with Watford. Watford have signed France midfielder Etienne Capoue. Sorry, can't help that. Etienne Capoue from Tottenham Hotspur for a club record fee on a 4-year contract. He has been capped 7 times by his country. He only made 24 league appearances over 2 seasons, though, for Spurs. After joining from Toulouse in 2013. He's the Hornets' 5th signing this summer after promotion to the Premier League, following deals for striker Matej Vidra, defender Sebastian Prodl, goalkeeper Giredrius Arlauskis, and fullback Jose Horlebas. Samuel Eto'o joins ambitious side Antalyaspor. 3-time Champions League winner Samuel Eto'o has joined promoted Turkish top flight side Antalyaspor, who were at the time reported to be closing in on Ronaldinho as well. Jackson Martinez has gone from Porto to Atletico Madrid for £35 million. Mario Mandzukic has gone from Atletico Madrid to Juventus in a €19 million deal. Also, Jeffrey Kondogbia has gone from AS Monaco, to Inter Milan for €35 million. AC Milan signed Luis Adriano and agreed Carlos Bacca deal on July 3rd, 2015. They signed Brazilian striker Luis Adriano from Shakhtar Donetsk, and on the same day agreed a deal for Sevilla's Carlos Bacca. Bacca, who I think actually has passed his medical, but he had his £21 million. He actually had his £21 million release clause activated. Adil Rami, who's 29, leaves Milan to join Sevilla for an undisclosed fee. Adriano joins for £5.7 million. As the club, and he leaves as the club's all-time leading goal scorer with 129 goals, including 9 in last season's Champions League. Andrea Pirlo, New York City FC signed Juventus midfielder Andrea Pirlo has joined MLS side New York City FC on a free transfer. The 36-year-old won 6 Serie A titles with AC Milan and Juventus, 2 Champions Leagues with Milan and the World Cup in Italy in 2006. Juve have agreed to end his contract a year early so he can move to the US on a 2.5-year deal. His teammates include at New York City FC, England midfielder Frank Lampard, and also Spain striker David Villa. He officially moves on the 21st of July. Couple managerial movements and shakings. Guus Hiddink leaves job as Netherlands coach after 10 months. This is from June 29th, 2015. Guus Hiddink left his position as Netherlands head coach after just 10 months in charge. The 68-year-old began his second spell in charge in August and had a contract until the end of Euro 2016. Hiddink lost 5 and won 4 of his 10 matches in charge and leaves his position with the Dutch third in their Euro 2016 qualifying group. Staying with the Netherlands, Danny Blind was appointed as the Netherlands' new head coach on the 1st of July 2015. Blind, who was Hiddink's assistant, won 42 caps during the 20-year playing career with Ajax, Sparta Rotterdam, and also managed Ajax as well. Nicolas Anelka named Mumbai City player manager from July 3rd, 2015. Former Chelsea and Arsenal striker Nicolas Anelka has been named player manager of Mumbai City. Anelka, who's 36, played for the Indian Super League side last season under ex-Man City manager Peter Reid. Anelka has filled a player coach role before during the season spent at Chinese clubs Shanghai Shenhua in 2012, as we mentioned on the PT show back at the time. The Frenchman only managed 2 goals in 7 league games in his first season at Mumbai, but returns as the club's marquee player, meaning he is eligible for a higher salary, so he's outside of the salary cap. Just like in the Australian A-League, where you can sign I think it's 2 marquee players, or kind of special attraction players, really. Big shout out to Ian Kerr, a Finn White linebacker. Roberto Carlos has become a manager. And I love this, and I love the name of this team. Roberto Carlos to manage Delhi Dynamos in the Indian Super League. Love that name. From July 5th, 2015, former Real Madrid and Brazil defender Roberto Carlos will manage the Delhi Dynamos for the upcoming season of the Indian Super League. The appointment, which was announced on the team's website on Sunday, is one of the biggest in the franchise-based league that saw players like Nicolas Anelka, Alessandro Del Piero, Robert Pires, Luis Garcia, and David Trezeguet turn out for different teams in the inaugural season last year. It is one of those. Remember, he reached the final in 98 and won the tournament in 2002. And he's pretty much scored one of the most famous free kicks in footballing history in Le Tournoi as well. But you know what? It is one of them ones. Jazzy Fizzle, you want to have your view on these before I have mine?
Sure, don't see why not. I think Nathaniel Klein is a tidy piece of business.
Yeah.
From what I also read, I think Glenn Johnson is in talks with West Ham about a potential return as a free agent. So, in terms of replacing what he gave you going forward, I think Nathaniel Klein is a natural successor there. I think the Carlos Bacca and Luis Adriano deals for AC Milan, very tidy pieces of business. I think while Jeffrey Kondogbia, for me, is one of the most exciting young talents in football at the moment, especially in midfield. 35 million, was it euros?
Yeah.
For me, again, it's such a hefty price tag. But this is what we talk about when we talk about those inflated prices, right? In the transfer market. Now, my thing is this: I'd at least want him to, have won some things first and foremost. I know there's talk about a potential 70-odd million price tag for the likes of a Paul Pogba. Right, but here's the thing: he's won stuff. Right, he has won stuff, so that's part of the reason why you'd end up paying so much. But Kondogbia, I don't know. Kondogbia, I don't know. I mean, I do believe the talent is there. I do believe the potential is there. But paying that fee right now, I don't really know. Especially when, for example, you can get the likes of Luis Adriano, who's a proven goal scorer. For how much did you say? What, 5 million?
Yeah.
So, you know, when you look at the trade-offs of those two, you know, those inflated prices really don't make sense. Really don't make sense. Thinking of some other deals in terms of transfers, I think the Adil Rami deal going back to Spain, that will suit him. You know, he's very good at Valencia, and I think it's good of him to go back to Spain. So I think that will work out in his favour.
But there's a couple of other deals as well. I mean, Barcelona have agreed to sign Arda
Turan, for about
million.
38 million or something ridiculous like that.
I think it's 38 in euros, yeah, but we're seeing around 29 million in pounds.
Yeah.
That's a weird one because Barcelona really and truly, I know we've brought this up before, but they really and truly should not be able to sign anyone considering they're under a damn embargo.
Yeah, I mean, I think the terms of it doesn't actually go through until January.
Yeah, well, I mean, he can't play for them until 2016. So it's like, bro, it's like, well, sorry, life sucks and then you die. You miss out. It's one of them was you contravene rules, you miss out. You should not be able to sign players during an embargo. Because
that's what I thought the whole point of the embargo was.
Exactly.
But I obviously don't know enough about those things.
Yeah, if they can still sign players under an embargo, then there's no point them having a damn embargo.
Yeah, you might as well just say, look, you're free to sign who you want, and they might as well come and play for you for all that it's worth because you've already paid the money.
Yeah.
But, you know, again, what do I know about these things? I'm just, you know, a person who likes to commentate on what happens in football in a social context. So, as I say, for me, personally, that's ridiculous. I know that he had some misgivings with, you know, Diego Simeone's style of play, but you can't deny that Diego Simeone actually got a lot out of him as a player. So, you know, for me, I think it's strange that Atletico let him leave because he was one of their better players. For me, but, you know, here's the thing. I think, as was pointed out quite recently, a lot of players dream about playing for Barcelona or Real Madrid. And if you're very, very lucky, both throughout the course of their career, you know. So it's a difficult one to turn down just from a footballing history and a footballing glamour point of view. You know, because let's be honest, it's part of the pinnacle. It's part of the pinnacle. So, you know, I don't blame him for going. I wonder how he's going to fit, where he's going to fit. Because here's the thing, you know, there's a couple of midfield talents there, like Sergi Roberto is one that springs to mind, who I'd like to see get a lot of playing time. But having said that, and I think Adam Halilovic as well, another youngster in Barcelona B. But my thing is this, obviously he goes over there, very big move. It's just, where does he fit? Where does he fit is my question. And I'm not saying that he can't work in that system. I think he can. It's just a matter of if you still want to go and develop and bring through those young talents, like a Halilovic, as I said, like a Sergi Roberto, then they need playing time. They need playing time. A lot of reasons why, you know, you've seen players leave, like a Cesc Fabregas, like a Thiago Alcantara, is just because they didn't get the playing time.
Well, you got Adekanye who's moved to Liverpool as well. And I saw an article earlier, I think it was on ESPN, where I saw an article earlier about, the supposed exodus of La Masia. Is it a concern of Barcelona on the way down? And it's like, well, you can't really speculate that way just because a few players have left. Yeah, the Deulofeu
as well.
We mentioned,
you know.
last week.
So for me, I know that you can't go and keep all of these young players. I'm well aware of that, right? Because you've even got Dongu as well, right? I know you can't keep all of these young players, but here's the thing: when you look at that Barcelona team, especially the core of the amazing team that was under Pep Guardiola, right? A lot of those players
are motorbiking off.
Well, there's that. And they also came through the youth team more or less at the same time, right? So Pedro, youth team product. Carlos Puyol, youth team product. Victor Valdez, youth team product. Andres Iniesta, youth team product. Xavi Hernandez, youth team product. Right? Even at that time you had Bojan Krkic, youth team product. Lionel Messi, youth team product. So if you're going to replicate that, you have to go and do the same things that you did before. And yes, Brad, you're right, they are all gone. Apart from Lionel Messi, of course. But if you're going to go and replicate that, then that's what you need to do. You need to hold on to these talents. You need to be able to have them have some time. You know, otherwise you run into a very similar situation that Manchester United had with Paul Pogba. He then leaves, goes away, starts to win everything with another team. So, you know, it's just how these things work. In terms of the managerial moves, Nicolas Anelka becoming a player manager, congratulations and good luck to him. Roberto Carlos becoming a manager, congratulations and good luck to him. I know he was doing some coaching while he was in Russia and Ukraine. So, you know, it'd be interesting to see how that pans out, to be honest. If he's anything like his former teammate and compatriot Dunga, it'll be very, very interesting to see how far his teams go in his managerial career. And lastly, Russ kind of asked me this before the show, so I will address it. He asked me, how did I feel about Nani leaving and going to Fenerbahce? Well, here's the thing. I understand the move from both parties, you know, in the sense of, obviously, Nani needs to play regular football. And with the addition of a Memphis Depay and the emergence of a Adnan Januzaj, it's going to be difficult. Unless, of course, you also have to factor in the signing of Angel Di Maria. It's going to be difficult to keep all of those players happy and play Nani as well. So I don't blame either party for that move. I just think that one of the better things for him was the presence of Sir Alex Ferguson. I think Sir Alex Ferguson was the manager that could get some of his best out of him. Yeah. And obviously in the absence of Sir Alex Ferguson, that wasn't really the case. I mean, David Moyes, did he have a goal with him? No, not so much. And of course, to get Ashley Young is another player that's in there as well.
AKA Mr. Birdpoo.
AKA Birdie, yeah. And then of course, you know, you factor all of that in and you think he needs a new lease on life for his career. You know, not just in terms of league play, but his international career as well. And I wish him all the best and I thank him for the memories and the moonsaults.
Did you just say the moonsaults? Oh,
yeah.
Not even the backflips.
No,
the
moonsaults. Moonsaults.
Oh, Lordy, the moonsaults.
And the backflips too. And the spins.
Oh my God.
But mostly the goals. And the hair.
Yeah, I was waiting for a mention. I was waiting for a mention of the hair. Yeah. If you didn't mention
and it's
I would be disappointed.
And it's Frohawk.
Frohawk. Oh Lord.
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah. In terms of these transfers,
it's real.
no, with Nani, he keeps it greasy. Anyway, drip Jericho.
Yeah, that's Soul Glow. Come on, now.
Him and Chris Kamara have the same barber. Anyway,
oh wow.
Give it to me, what you say? Give it to me right away. Anyway, Nathaniel Klein, I'm very happy with that. Not only are his stats pretty good, but the fact of the matter is 24, he's got scope to get better, and 12.5 million is not bad a price. I don't mind that. I mean, that is a ready-made replacement for a Glenn Johnson. It's one of them as he can get forward and he's quality coming back as well. I'm very happy with Nathaniel Klein. Coates is a bit of a shame that didn't work out, to be perfectly frank. He came with a lot of promise, but it just didn't work. He looked shaky and he never really settled in. Chelsea signing Falcao is an interesting one. I think Mourinho can get something out of him because otherwise Mourinho wouldn't want to sign him. It's one of them ones. He generally only signs players if he thinks he can get something out of them. Obviously, Torres was not his signing, so it's one of them was the £50 million J-bro, and that's how I've been calling it. But it is one of them ones. I think with the embarrassment of riches that Chelsea have got in midfield, that could be good for Falcao. That could do. I mean, he's going there to basically replace Drogba, so he'll be in that super sub role. So not much will be expected of him. Podolski signing for Galatasaray. Slight surprise. I thought he was going to come back to Arsenal and try and push on after his loan at Inter. It's a shame he didn't really kick off there either. It's a bit of a shame. So him going to Galatasaray represents a new start. Tom Ince for $4.5 million is an interesting one. That's a big outlay from Derby, and at the end of the day, Tom Ince did well there last season, and Derby were close to getting into the playoffs, but botched badly on the last day. But it was one of them. I mean, 11 goals in 18 games, $4.5 million is not that. So 4.75 million is not that bad. Punani, oh sorry, I can't say that. Nani going to Fenerbahce, not surprised by that. Probably should have happened the season earlier anyway. Troy Deeney extending his Watford contract. That is big for them. That is quality. Because scoring 21 times in the Championship last season and helping Buddy Watford to the Premier League. I mean, Deeney's one of those ones I've had my eyes on for a couple of years. And it's since even before the Pozzo family came in and Sean Dyche was still there. Deeney's a quality player, so Watford have done well to hang on to him. Getting Etienne Capoue as well, not bad. That's not bad. I mean, with Vidra, Deeney, and Capoue as well, they could be a surprise package. Eto'o, I think he's just basically moving around just to make that last bit of money in his career and have a last hurrah. I think on a personal note, he's ended up becoming a journeyman. Jackson Martinez, he was coveted around Europe, so for Atletico Madrid to get him, that's a major coup. Mandzukic going to Juventus, like we mentioned last week, with Tevez leaving, Mandzukic was the replacement. Anyway, Kondogbia played very well against Arsenal. I'm surprised no one else really went in for it. That was a surprise. I mean, Adriano and Carlos Bacca, again, I'm surprised there were many clubs linked to those two, but no one ever really dropped deals. Pirlo going to New York City. He's in the twilight of his career, but he's like a Rolls Royce. He is just quality. He just really is Mr. Reliable. So that's a great deal for New York City FC. Don't be surprised if you see him potentially back in Europe on loan. I'll say that now. Hiddink leaving the Holland job so quickly was a surprise, and Danny Blind succeeded him was a surprise as well, because apparently he rejected an approach from Man United. Apparently. But it's an opportunity for Danny Blind. I mean, hey, he's one of them, was a Dutch legend. So there's a real opportunity for him. Hopefully he gets given the time to do what he wants to do, because I think he could do well. I actually do think that he could do well. Anelka as a player manager, that's a surprise. Same with Roberto Carlos as well, managing the Delhi Dynamos. I love that name. The Delhi Dynamos. That name is brilliant. And in answer to Tom Wood's question, if Klein has a good season, yeah, give him an England Euro 2016 call-up, of course. If players are playing well, call them up. It is one of them ones where, yeah, Roberto Carlos and Nicolas Anelka, two players I never really had down as managers, let alone player managers. Never really had either of them down as managers, in all honesty. So, I mean, I know Roberto Carlos has been around. He was the senior man at kind of Anzi Makalaka Chikalaka Makalaka Lala, aka Anzi Mahashkala. He was a senior man there, and he's been managing elsewhere as well. But him and Anelka, I can't say I saw them, and thought, managerial material. So it's an interesting one. There's two interesting ones there. It'd be one of them ones. But I can't see Ronaldinho as a manager. Definitely can't see him as a manager. One of them ones. I mean, he likes to enjoy the game. I don't think he'd want the pressure of being a manager these days. I mean, do any of the Skypers want to jump in on these transfers that we've mentioned thus far? Because if the Skypers want to jump in, we'll do a quick couple of ones. But I mean, Brad Hickson said he thought Nani was superb for United when he was on form. He just couldn't get the game time with Fergie because he took no notice of him. Nani got game time in games you wouldn't have expected on a general basis. But yeah, as Chesney has said, consistency, yeah. Was supposed to be the next Ronaldo, and yeah, never really happened. So consistency kind of shot him in the foot. But interesting one. As I said, if the Skypers want to jump in on the transfers, Brad Hickson said Watford have made some superb signings. I agree with that. I mean, Capoue didn't get going at Tottenham, but there was always the pressure of Tottenham, who are the chronic jabroni undercard side, trying to be curtain jerkers, trying to be main eventers, but it's just not going to happen. And it consistently just doesn't happen. That's personally the way I see Tottenham using an OWR. It's one of them ones, they're upper mid card, but they just haven't got that X factor to take them to main event level. And Etienne Capoue, I mean, it was part of the Bale money, so there was already the pressure there. And hey, the guys bought with the Bale money have had 2 seasons now to actually get settled. So, on them ones, on a general basis, you only get a season or 2 to settle.
Yeah, I mean, isn't there talk of Lamella potentially going somewhere now?
Apparently,
he's supposed to be going back to Italy. There's talk of that. Yeah. And I just want to point out what Tom said about Troy Deeney again. He said that he hopes that he can prove himself in the Premier League, and who knows, he may get an England call-up. I think if he replicates what Andy Johnson did for Crystal Palace, that is a distinct possibility.
No, definitely. It's an interesting one. I mean, Brad Hickson said Capoue will do brilliantly for them, and Holebas will be a rock. Will be their rock at the back. So it's gonna be interesting to see how Watford do. I mean, Watford are getting their business done early. Bournemouth have done a bit of business, but I think Watford have done a bit more. I mean, they both got automatically promoted, so it's a case of you'd expect both to be doing business early and often, but it's on them. We'll see. We shall see how those two do. But you know what? Speaking of we shall see, we in just a second will see you guys on the other side, because we are just about to go into a little pause for the cause. So we will be right back in just a few minutes, after just a few minutes. Tonight on PT Live. We will see you guys in just a couple of minutes, and thank you for tuning in thus far.
Ladies and gentlemen, Pitch Talk proudly presents a full sit-down interview with a level 5 referee operating in Southern Amateur League and more. For 2 years, he was club secretary for a football club in Burnt Oak. In April 2015, he was elected AFA Youth Council Chairman. His aims include having input on development and more.
To ask Darrell a question during our special interview, email pitchtalk@gmail.com and put Darrell David in the subject line. Pitch Talk meets Darrell David. Coming soon. The football talk show that holds back nothing on opinions.
Straight shooting LJA.
Hi, I'm John Sitton.
Grassroots coach Manisha Taylor.
Hello, I'm Rob Perez.
The G-Man.
Samir Sonley, Motivate Sports and Fitness.
Christian Carambeu. Matt Hodgson, Director of the 4-year plan.
We the people, for the people. Jazzy Fizzle.
Your Monday night footballing fix.
Make sure you join the revolution.
The pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk. Each and every Monday night of your lives.
At youtube.com/Pitch Talk.
For podcast links and information, check out our official website, www.pitch-talk.com. Your Monday night footballing fix, Pitch Talk, is brought to you by and in association with
Talking Pie, a local podcast made by the fans for the fans of Notts County FC, hosted by Adam and Thomas Hewitt.
Simply Exclusive Entertainment. If you need a party or rave film, go to sxemedia.com for more information.
Apparently Rich, simple yet effective web solutions to help get your company off the ground. Visit apparentlyrich.com for more information. And LJA Productions, the new blood in digital video. If you need a video filmed and or edited, check out ljaproductions.co.uk. LJA Productions, the new blood in digital video, offering video production services such as video editing, video encoding for the web, including YouTube and Vimeo, audio recording, filming of interviews, promos, live events, and much more. Get in touch at www.ljaproductions.co.uk or twitter.com/LJA Productions and let the new blood in digital video promote you. Pitch Talk is brought to you by and in association with
the one-stop shop for all your coaching needs, Motivate Sports and Fitness. Check out motivatesportsandfitness.com for more information.
The new football culture magazine, Thin White Line. Check out thinwhitelinemagazine.com for more information.
Storm FM with new hot releases played daily. Feel the boom at stormfm.net.
Two girls with their Bonnie Scotty trying to cover as much women's football as they can. Girls on the Ball. Check out girlsontheball.com for more information.
Hello, I'm Rob Perez.
Grassroots coach Manisha Taylor.
Christian Carambeu.
I'm Matt Hodgson, Director of the 4-Year Plan.
Dave McLaughlin.
I'm Rob Lusher.
Andy Copeland from the Glennet Southern Amateur League.
Philip Wick, I'm CEO of 14.
Former chairman of Ibis FC.
Chairman of Alexandra Park FC.
And you're listening
And you're listening to Pitch Talk.
The only place to get your Monday night footballing fix.
Because the pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk. Make sure you join the revolution, the football revolution.
Grassroots.
Consulte. Segment. Consulte. Segment. Yeah. We are in the Grassroots segment. Big time shout outs to Ibis FC, the club that I call home, baby. Ibis Football Club at gmail.com. We are recruiting players. So Ibis Football Club, IBIS Football Club at gmail.com is where you need to email. Facebook.com/IBIS.FC and Twitter.com/IBIS_football at IBIS_football on Twitter. IBISFC.co.uk is the official website. We play in the 14 Southern Amateur League. As you heard the advert. We got Pitch Talk meets Darrell David coming up soon as well. pitchtalk@gmail.com is where you need to email to get your questions in and put Darrell David in the subject line. That advert is on youtube.com/Pitch Talk as well. So it is one of them ones. So it is one of them. But yeah, man, we recently had the Newcastle tour, which was a hell of a lot of fun. But a lot of what happens in Newcastle has to stay in Newcastle. I'll say that much. Deviante. That's not even me. But no, it is one of them ones where, like as we said earlier in the show, as we said earlier in the show, it is a case of Hackney Wick FC. We will be witnessing the birth of a club on Saturday because Hash the Wickers, so I never get that trending. Hackney Wick Football Club play their first official match for the community on Saturday, 11th of July, 2015. It's a 1:30 p.m. kickoff at Mabley Green, London E95QB. And Hackney Wick FC invite the whole of Hackney to join them for an afternoon of community football and family fun. The showcase match featuring their men's team will be followed by a friendly game introducing the women's team of Hackney Wick FC. With tons of prizes to be won and entertainment throughout the day, bring your friends, family, and a picnic and be part of Hackney history. How to get there? Hackney Wick Station is the nearest station. Homerton is near as well. The 276, 236, W15 and 488 buses are the closest as well. One of their other hashtags is #Our Borough, Our Club. It's fantastic stuff. For more information, visit hackneywickfc.com, where you can also see an interview with the Hackney Wick FC founder as well. I said they're on Twitter at Hackney FC as well. Sorry, at Hackney Wick FC, on Twitter. Give them a follow. They'll be more than willing to have a chat. Big thank you to Daniel of at Beautiful Game 15 on Twitter. He let us know about this, and he was on the show last week promoting too. So fantastic stuff, absolutely fantastic stuff. We cannot wait. All three of the Pitch Talk co-host will be there, so fantastic. We can't wait to witness the birth of a club. It's just such a special thing. Like I said earlier in the show, the intrigue is there. So it is one of them ones. Big time shout outs. Also a big time shout out to Porter's Soccerbility as well. Their manager's name is Nigel Stewart. Mobile number 07891839171. They train at Cedar Hall School, Hart Road, Benfleet, SS7 3UQ. They're at Porters_soccer, SOCCA on Twitter. _CCA, and it's facebook.com/Porters Soccerbility as well. So it's one of them. They're an affiliated Essex FA Soccerbility team that has both youth and adult teams who have disabilities. So their price to join them is $100 to sign on, but £30 for the kit. And they are recruiting people for the new season. So if you're interested, come along and watch a training session to see if you're interested. There's one of them. Remember, they train at Cedar Hall School, Hart Road, Benfleet, SS7 3UQ. So if you're interested, get yourself down there. Now, also within the grassroots segment, we've been wanting to mention this for a while, actually. Originally from the 9th of June 2015, and the England Lionesses have very much been a driving force behind this. As soon as they returned to London, a lot of promo went into We Can Play. And a big shout out to Swaggerlicious Ltd, which is company founded by Miss Manisha Taylor, who is a former Pitch Talk Meets guest as well. But from the 9th of June 2015, she's also been championing the We Can Play initiative as well, inspiring women and girls to play football. The Football Association has today launched We Can Play, and this was on the 9th of June 2015, a campaign to shatter lingering preconceptions about women's and girls football and boost participation. Despite its status as the largest team sport for girls and women in the country, peer-to-peer pressures, gender stereotyping, and even the derogatory results of internet searches all contribute, as Jesse Fizzle mentioned earlier, to a perpetuation of a negatively distorted image of the women's game, which research has revealed is holding back greater participation in football. So on the eve of the start of the Women's World Cup of England Lionesses Women's World Cup campaign, remember this was the 9th of June, The FA released new data to tackle the issue head on, lifting the veil on attitudes about football among 7 to 11-year-old girls and their parents. Alarmingly, unlike tennis and netball, among girls surveyed, only just over half that felt that football was a game for them. Even among young girls that do play football, 4 out of 5 of them don't feel confident in doing so. The attitudes of parents of girls from this age group are also telling. Mums and dads are far less likely to encourage daughters to play football than sons, and significantly, they are also more likely to discourage daughters from playing than male children. And beyond gender stereotyping concerns, the FA is seeking to spark wider debate about perceptions of women's football. Hell, we had a bit of that earlier tonight. Kelly Simmons, the FA's director of the national game and women's football, said we need to ask ourselves, why do these perceptions still pervade? Weekend players aiming to canvass the support of 100,000 girls and parents as part of this drive to boost participation. The FIFA Women's World Cup at the time was currently taking center stage, and domestically the FA Women's Super League continues to grow. The profile and professionalism of the women's game has never been greater, again, as we mentioned earlier. The FA is doing its part to ensure the game is an attractive mass participation sport for girls and women, but we should ask, why does society allow antiquated attitudes to persist? Let's have an open and honest discussion. In doing so, we want to shatter the myth that football is for boys and give thousands of girls the opportunity to enjoy our beautiful national game and all the benefits of taking part in team sports. Increasing girls' confidence that football is a sport for them and showcasing positive role models, many of whom will be appearing on our screens when England take on France at the time, are crucial. Now, some of the statistics: 4 out of 5 girls playing recreational football don't feel confident in doing so. 81% of girls think football is suitable for boys, basically only for boys. And 95% of boys aged 10 play football, compared to only 41% of girls. Only 3% of mini soccer teams are girls only. Now, you know what? It is a case of you know what? Campaigns like this are absolutely fantastic. Are absolutely fantastic. And I mean, also, want to throw into this as well, that Brad Hicks actually manages the side, one of our Skypers. He said the side that he manages is called Achieve With Us. They play at Holy Trinity Church in Hinckley, Leicestershire. Currently, they have training sessions on Wednesdays from 11 till 12 a.m., but sometimes play tournaments at various locations. And the side is for adults with serious learning disabilities. And you know what? Good luck, Brad. That side is Achieve With Us, and they play at the Holy Trinity Church in Hinckley, Leicestershire, and they train on Wednesdays from 11 till 12 a.m. and they also play in tournaments as well. So it is one of them ones. Big shout outs to them, mate. Big shout outs to them, actually. And it is a case of initiatives such as Achieve With Us, initiatives such as Porter's Soccerability, and also initiatives such as We Can Play, which is inspiring women and girls to play football. These are fantastic things that need to be celebrated within football. As much as we do mention some of the negative stuff and we criticize, there is a lot of good being done in football by a lot of different people. And that is why, as we've said before, that is why we do things such as Pitch Talk on the road. And we actually do have Daniel, aka Yalamanta3, on Skype. We're going to throw to him in a minute. That is why we do stuff such as Pitch Talk on the road, to really give a bit of spotlight to these positive entities and positive events as well. And also, which is why we do Pitch Talk meets as well, to give the people behind those events a bit of shine as well. Because at the end of the day, how is anything positive going to continue, and how is anything positive going to develop and grow unless it's promoted? It's one of them ones. It sounds like a rhetorical question, but it isn't. So it is one of them ones. That's why on Pitch Talk, I'm sure I can speak for myself, Jazzy Fizzle, and the G-Man, that we're proud to promote things such as Hackney Wick's first official match, because similar to the We Can Play initiative, it's inspiring a community to get involved. So it's one of them was we have no problem throwing our support behind, say, a Porter Sockability or Achieve With Us or IBIS or any other things involved and entities involved in football that are doing positive things, because that's what it's all about, celebrating the positive and helping to promote the positive as well. So it's one of them was, the Premier League is not the be-all and end-all of football, and men's professional football is not the be-all and end-all of football. So it's one of them ones. Just thought I'd add that as well. But and a big shout out also to Parkgate FC as well, aka the Steelmen. Roundwood Pavilion, Green Lane, Rotherham, South Yorkshire is where their ground is. S62 6LA. Their telephone number is 07527525209. It's facebook.com/ParkGateFC and at ParkGateFC on Twitter as well. This Wednesday, July 8th, 2015. You might see Russ Vernon down there, but they're playing against Rotherham United, and that kickoff is 7:30 p.m. Speaking of kickoffs, and sticking with the grassroots segment, and you know what, Brad Hicks, that is spot on. Let's show kids football isn't just something to watch on TV. It's a great point. Speaking of that,
or playing video games.
Yeah, exactly. Come on, get up, everybody. Go out and play some football. Yeah. One of them ones. I love that. But you know what, yeah? I said, we have Daniel, a.k.a. Yalaman Tafuri, and hopefully we're going to be seeing you this Saturday, aren't we, Daniel?
That's the plan, yeah, absolutely. If you guys wake up on time and get yourselves down to Mabley Green, that's definitely the idea.
Oh, of course. We'll definitely be up on time. It's going to be hard to sleep the Friday night before. It's gonna be one
I think it will be for us lot as well. There's still a lot of T's to cross and I's to dot, and it's going to go down to the wire, but it's all going to be worth it. It's been a pretty nuts last couple of weeks. I mean, more for some than others, obviously with work and as well as trying to sort everything out for Saturday. But we're nearly there. I think we've finished the program today, which is pretty exciting. As a bit of a program nerd myself, it's quite exciting being involved in creating that. And fingers crossed, everything's going to plan so far.
Great stuff, man. Great stuff. So you must be really excited in terms of Saturday itself, just getting it, not necessarily getting it out of the way, but just getting really knee deep into it. I mean, what roles are you going to be fulfilling on Saturday as well?
Well, I think me and Tom, as kind of part of our blog, Beautiful Game 15 on Twitter, or Two Men in Search for a Beautiful Game on Facebook. I think we're kind of Tom's the photographer, so he's gonna be catching the whole day on film, and I'm going to be talking to the fans and the players and everyone there, and we'll be covering it on behalf of our blog, doing a big write-up about it, and hopefully we can capture, the event and the atmosphere and just the whole afternoon, really. We've got the men's team and the women's team both getting their debut as well. And obviously, there's a big buzz around women's football with the Lionesses doing so well. And I think it's probably the first time that the Women's World Cup has really kind of captured, especially this country. I know it's big in the States and other bits of Europe, but I suppose this country in particular have really got behind the team. And so hopefully, people that will come and show that support as well to the Hackney Wick women's team who are going to be playing on Saturday after the men's team.
Definitely. I mean, it's. I mean, as we've said just now, and we said earlier in the show as well. We are very, very excited to see the birth of a club.
Good. And, that's and it's good to know that people are as excited about us as about it.
Yeah, it's a case of like it's something you don't see every day. It's something potentially you don't even see every year, let alone every day. So it's going to be so exciting to be a part of it, and obviously to help promote it in whatever way we can as well. So
No, and I can't tell you how much, from everyone at the club and how much that's appreciated. I guess I guess one of the big points that we make is that it's not a club born out of a negative thing. Whereas I think, like I mentioned last week, AFC Wimbledon and FC United and Manchester is a kind of quite a negative reaction
kind of a backlash something more than anything.
Yeah, that's it. And whereas this is just, I guess, one guy's idea to want to, be involved in his community where he's, what he's familiar with, where he's grown up, and use that as an inspiration, use what he knows, which is football, and use that to kind of, maybe it sounds a bit cheesy almost, but to bring everyone together. But if it sounds cheesy, if it works, it doesn't really matter as far as we're concerned, to be honest.
No, of course. I mean, it's one of them ones. I mean, it very much ties in with the ethos of Pitch Talk as an entity. It's we the people for the people.
Yeah.
So it's that's one of the main reasons that we're proud to be a part of it. We can't wait for Saturday.
Brilliant. Really I mean, it's like I think you just said before about how the Premiership's not the be all and end all, and obviously there is this natural break between the end of the season and the beginning of the season in a month's time. So hopefully, I think what I would have done once upon a time is almost ignored football for a couple of months and then got back into it when the Premiership started. But now it's almost hopefully people will use the break as a chance to explore other things. And we're going to be one of those things that people are going to explore, going to come along if people are ground hoppers, or people just into grassroots football, or people just want some nice thing to do with their family on a Saturday afternoon. Hopefully we can cover all the bases for everyone, and as well as the football, there's going to be a lot of stuff other going on. We've got a dance troupe, and some of us are going to try and hit the crossbar with the football, which should be pretty entertaining in itself. So there's loads and loads going on. So we really hope as many people as possible are going to come down, and hopefully with your help and tweeting as much as humanly possible about it, we can get as many people down as possible.
Definitely. Hey, and we wish Hackney Wick FC all the best, and of course at beautiful game 15 as well, big time shout outs. It is one of them ones. That Daniel, let us know those details again of the blog.
So we're at beautiful game 15. That's us on Twitter, and on Facebook we're Two Men in Search of a Beautiful Game. So please come along, give us a like, give us a follow, and we also like to interact with people. Keen for people to get in touch and let us know, what clubs to go and visit this season. We're going to do a few away days with clubs this season. So maybe if you think your club's a good club to come and travel with, in the non-league or lower leagues, we'd love to know why. And please get in touch with us, because maybe we'll come and join you and do a blog about your club and your experiences traveling around the country.
There we go. See, people, the opportunities are there. Also give a big time, give a follow, give a like on Facebook to at Hackney Wick FC on Twitter and Hackney Wick FC on Facebook as well. As said, on their website and also on the Facebook page as well, you will see an interview with the founder of the club as well. So it is one of them. It is definitely an interview worth watching, which was taken from London Live. Very much worth watching.
Well, yeah, and there was a Copper 90, who I'm sure a lot of your followers are aware of, which are a great channel on YouTube who cover all aspects of football, be it abroad or in the UK. They made a small video about his kind of, I guess, his journey from South London and perhaps being the wrong side of the law and ultimately kind of ending up in prison and turning his life around in prison. He wrote a book while he's in prison, educated himself, and he's come out, a new man and wants to use that gift that perhaps by his own admission he flitted away by making some bad decisions, and hopefully he can use football to help people not make the same mistakes as he did and help the community. And so it's all very worthwhile, and it's all got a really strong message. ultimately our motto is our borough, our club, and that's very that's very intrinsic to what we're about here.
No, definitely love it. Absolutely love it. You know what? It is one of them ones. We'll be there on Saturday, 11th of July 2015 to see the birth of a club. We cannot wait. That's it, man. That's what the grassroots segment is all about, man. Just giving that promo to grassroots level. Jazzy Fizzle, did you want to add anything before we move on?
No, I think you pretty much covered everything, other than, as you said, really looking forward to being a part of the event, and just being there at the beginning of everything, and hopefully we catch it at the middle and ride the wave for as long as possible.
Definitely. You know what? I love that as a way to end the grassroots segment. So what we are going to do is we are going to move on to the final segment of the show, which is
Stuff of the week.
Yeah. La da da la da da la da da la da da. This is Pitch Talk. It's Monday night. Golden Fix. Oh yeah. Yes it is. Every Monday night we are live. I'm wishing that fix. This is Monday night. Mayhem. You're wishing that mayhem. Cause it's PT. Cause it's Monday night.
I was disappointed you didn't go Cosby.
Yeah. I'm trying to stop Cosby. You ruined my flow. I'm trying to stop the Cosby and wean myself off it. It's terrible. It's terrible. I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to be it is one of them. But you know what? Let's go straight into stuff of the week. Let's go goal of the week. Jazzy, who you going for goal of the week?
Well, honorable mention to the one and only Alexis Sanchez.
Oh yeah.
But I think it's obvious where my goal of the week's going.
And why would that be?
Because it was the first goal in the Women's World Cup final. Come on.
Yeah, no, I'll go for that. The only reason I'm not going for it is because the defended. But
but like as a set piece, it was a really well worked set piece. Because if you watch it, you're thinking, what? Like this set piece is awful. Like who came up with that? And then of course the ball finds the back of the net. You would say it 1-0 up. And everything actually works out exactly how it's supposed to work out. You're watching the set piece, even as a defender, and you're thinking, well, that was a terrible idea.
Yeah.
But somehow the ball still ends up in the back of the net.
Hey, I was watching both them first goals as a defender and thinking, oh my God, you did not learn off the first one and you let it happen again? So good gravy. Yeah, he is one of them. He is what the hell it is. But my goal of the week, I mean, Lauren Holiday's volley was actually pretty damn good, but it's got to be Carly Lloyd's lob from the halfway line. I mean, it was one of them. Was funnily enough, that was from Japan's. Well, Japan took center. They ended up losing it. A couple seconds, like literally seconds later, Carly Lloyd goes for a lob, similar to Xabi Alonso's one against Newcastle at Anfield a few years ago. Very similar to that one. So yeah, I'm going for Carly Lloyd's third goal. Doing it in style. Let's go for Brad Hicks has said Carly Lloyd. Ryan Sonley, who you going for goal of the week?
Or it may not even actually be a goal. It's actually an own goal. Point us.
So you're breaking up quite badly, Ryan. Who you going for?
The goal of the week is the own goal that was scored because it was actually a good finish.
Oh, what, the one in the final?
No, England, Laura Bassett.
Okay, it's kind of an odd one. Russ Vernon, who are you going for goal of the week?
For me, Liam, I'm going to give it to Carly Lloyd's third, and same for Mike Ornament. He's gone Carly Lloyd's third goal, and he says it was a Charlie Adam-esque where he scored against Chelsea for Stoke.
I'd say Alonso-esque personally, but yeah, that was me. Kieran Riley, who are you going for goal of the week?
My goal of the week's Farrell Williams' penalty.
Good shout. Very, very good shout.
The one from the third place playoff.
Cool. I thought you were going to go to one against Japan. Good shouts. Daniel, who you going for? Your goal of the week? Oh. All right, we'll have to come back to him. Let's go into team of the week. Team of the week, you can't look further than the USA. So I won't. I'm going to stick with the USA.
Yeah, as you say, can't really look further than them as they are the new FIFA Women's World Cup champions. But
Howard Finkel reference.
I thought I had to go and take that from you because it was queued up the whole time. You didn't take it. Anyway, it's difficult to look beyond the USA, but obviously honorable mention to Japan as holders making it back to the final. A lot of teams do not do that. Obviously the Lionesses as well, for the second best finish of any England football team, male or female, in all of football in history, in the World Cup. And of course, for me though, it has to go to Chile, right? We said it was over 90 years they were on soil, and they beat Lionel Messi and Argentina. That's huge.
Definitely. I'll go with that. Tom Wood, what was your goal of the week?
My goal of the week is going to go to Carly Lloyd's third goal, and my team of the week is going to be England.
Oh, good shout. No, that's a fair shout. That's actually a very, very fair shout. Brad Hicks has gone his team of the week, the England Women's World Cup team, with an honourable mention to Chile. Shout. Ryan Sonley, who's your team of the week?
Chile with an honourable mention to England.
Fair shout. Russ Vernon, who you going? Team of the week.
For me, Liam, but before I do mine, I will give Mike's. He's gone for the USA ladies, Mike Ornament. But for me, honourable mention to Chile. But it's the England Lionesses. Fantastic tournament, a fantastic game against Germany for the third place. Well done, girls. Proud of you, every single one of you, including the backroom staff.
No, good shout. Kieran Riley's gone for England and the USA. Good stuff. Who hasn't? I think everyone's given their team of the week already. So let's shift on in terms of we've done goal, we've done team, player. Player of the week. I want to go with Farrell Williams. Farrell Williams is my player of the week. Honorable mention to Carly Lloyd, of course, who got player of the tournament in the FIFA Women's World Cup. I'm going to go Farrell Williams. She ran herself into the ground, technically superb, and a couple of real pressure penalties scored as well. One in the semi-final and one in the third place playoff against Germany, who England hadn't beaten for 21 attempts. It's one of them ones. I'm going Farrell Williams of the Liverpool ladies. Gavin Williams is my player of the week. With honourable mention, I said to Carly Lloyd and Alexis Sanchez as well. Who are you going for, Jesse? Player of the week.
For me, it's difficult to look past Carly Lloyd just because that was her final. And I think Luca pointed out earlier, one of the fastest hat-tricks in World Cup history, male or female.
Yeah.
And I think it was the first goal scored from about the halfway line in the World Cup final, male or female.
Yeah.
You know, so to have really shown up on the big stage like that, in that way, Carly Lloyd. With an honourable mention, of course, to Alexis Sanchez and all of the players of Chile. You know, the coach, the staff, the fans, actually to the whole country of Chile. That's my player of the week, because that's what it was really about. It was a whole country coming together to make that happen.
Yeah, I'll go with that. That is a totally fair shout. Totally fair shout. Let's go. Ryan, you got yours?
Honourable mention to Laura Bassett for coming out and actually being supportive to every England fan over her own goal. And another honourable mention to my coach from Argo Disability for actually asking me to be a coach for the new season.
No, good shout. No, very, very, very good shout. Russ Vernon, who are you going for?
Mike has gone for Carly Lloyd as his player of the week. But for me, for impressive tournament, I'm going to give a joint one to Farrah Williams and Lucy Bronze.
Good shouts.
Both played brilliantly.
Two very, very good shouts there. Tom Wood, who are you going for?
Steph Houghton.
It's another good shout. The England Lionesses captain. Fantastic shout. I love it. Brad Hicks has gone Steph Houghton as well. So very, very good. The Man City lady star. And Kieran Riley has gone for Farrah Williams for the penalty she scored, but also for getting us third place in the Women's World Cup. Tremendous. Can't say I disagree with us. Oh lordy. No, he's so wrong. Anyway, let's go for flop of the week. Flop of the week. I've got I know who I'm going for. Flop of the week, Carl Oyston. For the reason about Carl Oyston with an honourable mention to Gervinho. Not for the hash Gervinho drawback, but for those demands that he apparently placed in terms of getting a transfer. But I do have to go Carl Oyston. Carl Oyston, because of that whole thing with having a gun but not brandishing it. It's like, why do you feel you need a gun for? Very, very strange. Extremely strange. But Jesse, who are you going for? Flop of the week?
Well, I think off the field you got to go with Carl Oyston, but on the field, to me, it's got to be Argentina.
Yeah, fair. No, that's fair.
And the reason why I say that, right? Argentina remind me of England in the sense of there's a lot of hype about the golden generation. That's what they're known as, right? With all of these talented world-class players that can't seem to put it together and win the big one.
Shout. Very, very fair shout. No, that is actually a fair shout. Tom Wood, who are you going for? Flop of the week?
Liverpool for naming Sean O'Driscoll as their assistant manager.
Okay. That's a very peculiar reason. As a Liverpool supporter, what I will say in response to that is this.
And if I want any crap out of you, I'll pick it out of your teeth.
That's the way I'm going with it as a cop-out. Had to do that. But Russ Vernon, who you going for? Flop of the week?
For Mike, it says Argentina men, but mostly Gonzalo Higuain.
Okay.
But for me, Liam, I'm going to give it to Leicester City. And the reasoning behind this, for me, I'd have kept Nigel Pearson on and kept him up. Well, I can't understand why he got sacked. The people have been speaking to saying it's coming down to his son. But for me, he shouldn't have been sacked. I kept him up. And if he was still in charge, I think he would have took him at higher places next season, with an honourable mention to Argentina as well.
Well, you know what? The Nigel Pearson thing, we didn't have time to go into it today, but we've got a special feature lined up about players and professional conduct. So, yeah, we're going to hit that one. We haven't forgotten about that. We definitely haven't. Kieran Riley, have you got a flop of the week?
Yeah. Leicester probably sacking Pearson. That means they've got no chance in signing Bakary Sacco from us now, even though he's now a free agent. And also, my other flop of the week, sorry to say, it's just got to be the own goal we scored in the semi-finals.
I still don't think that's a fair one, but it's one of them. Brad Hicks, let us know your flop of the week in the Skype chat. Who hasn't given their flop of the week yet? I think everyone has. Brian, who are you going for? Flop of the week?
Japan, because they thought they were all it and wanting to win it for the second time in successive World Cups. They didn't even turn up against England, and they were absolutely poor, and they won. I'm so glad the USA smashed them.
No, fair dues. Very, very fair dues. Where are we going? Oh, yeah, Brad Hicks.
Yeah, Brad went with
Leicester.
Leicester, sorry. Yeah, Leicester.
As his flop of the week. Well, there's a lot more to it than just the manager getting sacked. So it's one of them. That's why I don't know. It's kind of an odd call, but it is one of them ones where, as I said when Japan were getting smashed, all I could literally think of was just this. Oh my God. As God is my witness, Japan were broken in half. Japan were broken in half. It's one of them. A lot of Japanese fans must have been thinking during that first 20 minutes.
I don't know what the hell's going on here. Wait a minute. But I don't like it at all. But I don't like it at all.
Japan down. Are the USA. Japan just got slapped down. Are the USA. We know who's not going to win. After that first 20 minutes, that's exactly what I was thinking. We know who's not going to win. But, it is one of them ones where it is time for us to start vacating the place with a haste. Because it's time to see.
Hi, I'm John Sitton, and I'm here with Gavin, Liam and Gerald on Pitch Talk.
The football talk show that pulls no punches and holds back nothing on opinions.
Hello, I'm Rob Russ. My name is Christian Carambeu.
I'm grassroots coach Manisha Taylor.
Hi, I'm Matt Hodgson, director of the 4-year plan, and you're listening to Pitch Talk, the only place to get your Monday night footballing fix.
Make sure you join the revolution.
The pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk.
I'm Andy Copeland from the Glennet Southern Amateur League.
Philip Wick, I'm CEO of 14.
I'm Rob Lusher, former chairman of Ibis FC.
I'm Samir Swaney, co-founder and co-director of Motivate Sports and Fitness.
And you are listening,
and you're listening to Pitch Talk.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, straight shooting LJ, the G-Man and Jazzy Fizzle proudly bring to you the football talk show that pulls no punches and holds back nothing on opinions. Why? Because the pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk. We have been your Monday night footballer fix here live since 8 p.m. tonight. We've had fun. We've had a lot of fun with the Skypers. Big shout outs to Brad Hicks, Russ Vernon, Tom Wood, Kieran Riley, Ryan Sonley, Gianluca Lia. Big shout outs also to Daniel, aka Yellamanta Free, of Beautiful Game 15 on Twitter as well. One of them. Big time shout outs. Big time shout outs to Girls on the Ball at Girls on the Ball on Twitter. Facebook.com/Girls on the Ball and girlsontheball.com. Also, big time shout outs to Hackney Wick FC. Facebook, find them, Hackney Wick FC, and also at Hackney Wick FC on Twitter as well. We cannot wait for Saturday. Oh my word. www.pitch-talk.com is the official website for everything Pitch Talk. Find out about us right up there. Also, Facebook.com/Pitch Talk. Become fan, become friend, become member of the group. Join the footballing revolution we are working so hard to create. Pitchtalk.blogspot.com or .co.uk will get you to the blogs. Blogs by yours truly, Straight Shooting LJ, the G-Man, Jazzy Fizzle, and many, many others, including Dave Mear, aka at Mearcy on Twitter, and his Airtricity League Roundup. Also, big time. Look at that. YouTube.com/Pitch Talk. Pitch Talk meets Darrell David is coming very soon. pitchtalk@gmail.com is where you need to email your questions to, and put Darrell David in the subject line. pitchtalk@gmail.com. Email us there and put Darrell David in the subject line. Cannot wait to be sitting down with him. Also with Hackney Wick FC, cannot wait till Saturday, July 11th. We will be witnessing the birth of a club. It's going to be so fun to be down there. So big shout outs to Hackney Wick FC. Also 07535804466 is our mobile number. Call us, text us, let us know your views. If you're going to text, leave your name at the end of the text so we can shout you out, just like Big T, aka Thomas Hewitt. Big shout out to him and his podcast, Talking Pie. Oh my God, it is one of them ones where Pitch Talk, twitter.com/Pitch Talk or at Pitch Talk on Twitter. Tweet with us, follow us, see what we're up to. Pitch Talk Live on Google Plus as well. Add us to your circles. Up there as well. You know what? It is one of them ones. Big time shout outs to Jennifer Evans as well, who has been very vocal again on Facebook. It's one of them ones. Brought up a very good talking point actually in regards to our discussion about women's football. So fantastic stuff. Big shout outs to Jennifer Evans. Big shout outs to the England Lionesses. Congratulations on your achievements and making history in the FIFA Women's World Cup. Big shouts to the USA as well. Three-time World Cup champions. It's one of them was fantastic stuff. It's one of them was one great team, one great champion. Another little OWR there. But it is one of them ones. I have been Straight Shooting LJA.
And as always, I've been Jazzy Fizzle.
And on behalf of the G-Man as well, who had to dash off, we say thank you very much, everyone. Good night.